You might be like annoyed. You're on YouTube?
It's loading. It's going. I'll tell you when it's on. You're on.
Listo. He's ready. Okay. You can bring that closer to you.
Mm-hmm. I'll just put it here so I don't move it around. Welcome, everybody. So for those of you who don't know who I am, and I don't know you yet, but I look forward to meeting you, I'm Cassandra, and me and Nico steward this land with many other people who are here as well. And when we're in Diamante Valley, so we're also streaming a bit and recording the classes. So one, I just want to say my deep appreciation that Lama, you said yes to coming to the valley, to Diamante Valley. We're so grateful to have you here and for this new journey that we're about to go on. So I met Carolina and Lama with Nico on their land and their land project that's here. They've decided to root in Costa Rica. And they can share more about their project, but it felt like such a big blessing to be so close to Lama Dorche. And they invited us to come to Sangha, and it was like just such a moment of like an aha moment where so many different synergies are coming together at one place. You know, for us having a family, having old community here, meeting new community, and this interweaving space that is this valley, right? We've all moved here or grew up here for a reason and chosen to be here. And then to have Lama also come and be here was like this just intersection of spirituality, of love, of devotion. For me, spirituality is a really important piece of my life that informs everything that I do. I imagine that is the truth for everybody here, or we wouldn't be sitting here. And I want to give gratitude to this land, tierras. This project is called Finca Tierras Sagradas, and we have our sister project, Aguas Sagradas, next door. This land has just held us so beautifully to be able to host so many things, to be able to bring together family and friends and the village. And so recognizing this land and this waterfall that is this vortex, an energetic space that really has gifted us her space for us to gather. And for me, that's the most important thing, is that we continue to gather. And so speaking of gathering, this is what I approached Carolina with, is this request that we can host a space of gathering and to create a rhythm and to create a connection between us as community, between us and inviting Lama and Carolina to the community to learn. And so what we spoke about and what I really asked was this, like, diving deep into the teachings so that we can, as a conscious community, learn from each other, hold each other, and learn specifically from Lama and the teachings so we can bring this consciousness into the valley and into our lives. We hosted a retreat here with them last July, and it was so beautiful to get to know, when we did little cohorts, to get to know, like, even my brother Ariel, we had like a circle, and like Ariel and I don't specifically speak about spirituality, but we're on the same wavelength, like we hang out, and it was so beautiful to hear his spiritual outlook, you know, when we had that circle and you're like, how does this apply to your life? And I was like, wow, like, this is such a beautiful way to get to know each other on a different layer. So I requested this with Caro and Lama to build some kind of, they had said, we have this whole text that we can actually teach. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's go on this adventure. And so what they've been preparing and have prepared is kind of this class, and Caro can speak more to it, but that is curated for us to have a continuity and a journey of almost 2 years of like an introduction to Buddhism and then an applied practice to our daily lives, and then stepping more into like the ceremonial ritual aspects of like I do not know. That is the the intro to that. I was gonna say something and I was like, wait, that's not. Retract. Of the to be continued. This is just a preview. So thank you all for being here in this context, in this seed level of setting the stage to invite Lama and to receive Lama into our space. Muchas gracias, Lama.
Muchísimas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Carolina.
Gracias. Do you want to light your attention on the candle
Oh, okay.
for the space?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the incense.
Yes,
No, ambas.
¿Eso es tuyo o mío?
No, yo cojo el que quieres. Uno tuyo. ¿Lo vas a hacer o yo?
Okay, so yeah, welcome everybody. We're so happy to be here and really excited to see some old faces from all different places from the market, from all different areas around, and then also seeing new faces as well. We're really excited to be here, and for us, it's really an honor to have a request like this. We've been in Costa Rica for nearly 3 years now, and we do different teachings around in different neighborhoods where we're requested, maybe Chiripo and Ojo Chao. And I can say this is actually the first time that we've had a request where there's been a request to build a Sangha and actually to have, I mean, the specific words were, we would like a master's class. I was like, okay, well, Lama happens to come from a line of masters. And that's he was sharing a little bit about the dinner at the dinner last night, but we come from a tradition called Drikung Kagyu, which means like the whispering lineage, the lineage of oral transmission. And so the way the teachings are passed down are orally from a realized master to the disciples, and the disciples have to request the teaching. So it actually can't just be given; it actually has to be requested. So it was requested, and so that was like very nice for us to have. And so we'll be going more into it today. We're going to go a little bit over some of the foundations just to like make sure that we're on the same page in that way. But in general, what we mean by a master's class is, so Lama was in retreat. He's actually from a very small town named Limi in the Himalayas, which are around 15,000 feet in the Himalayas. It's a nomadic indigenous village of the Himalayas. They kind of like move around in yurts made of yak skin, and they grow up Buddhists their entire life. And the kind of the essence of what that means is that from the time he was in the womb, when he was born, they're always telling him, you're a precious human and you have the capacity to serve all of humanity. That's like the principal message that they're teaching their children. And then from there, that's what the entire schooling system is about. How do you let go of any negative habits of your mind, anger, attachment, confusion, doubt, stress? How do you get rid of those? And how do you increase the positive qualities of virtue, kindness, compassion, and love? And beyond the normal scope of what we normally consider to be love, but like to embrace all beings equally, whether we like them or not. And so he's been training in this since a very young age, as has been the monks and nuns of the lineage. And at 5 years old, he actually requested as a young baby, I would like to become a monk. And so he went into the monastery, like knowing exactly what his mission was, what he wanted to do. And at the age of 24, when we were all like, maybe, I don't know about y'all, but maybe like exploring parties and things, Lama was like, I'd like to go into solitary retreat. And so he went into 4 years of solitude in the mountains of India. And this, what we're sharing here over the next, months and years, depending on the level that you'd like to engage. This is what he did in retreat. It's called the Fivefold Mahamudra. And so what it teaches, it's a very systematic approach that it's all of the teachings of the enlightened masters gets boiled down into this practice pathway. So Lama has the title Jupan Lama Dorje, which means that he completed 4 years of retreat and had certain qualities of like has completed it in a good way, and his teacher saw that that was embodied wisdom. And so through that, now Jupan means he's a retreat master, meaning he can share that with others. So many of you know that we're in Costa Rica because we're building a silent retreat sanctuary. And this is some of the primary teachings that we'll be sharing there. So what we've done is what he learned with Fivefold Mahamudra, we've condensed it down into a way that it can be for practitioners of any lifestyle. If you have time to retreat, great. If you have a family, great. If you have a big farm and like you need to practice while you're gardening at the same time, that's also possible. So we've kind of like and many lamas are doing this right now because the practices are so beneficial and they've benefited from them in their own life. And so they're now adapting them, and it's without watering it down, adapting them into formats that all of us have access to them. And it's really so kind and so gracious. These teachings have been passed down for more than 2,500 years. And this particular set comes from the head of our lineage called Jigten Sungun, which we'll go into more today. And in their traditional retreat, actually, it's like they do 100,000 repetitions of like maybe 20 different practices, and it's 4 practices a day, and you're only focused on that. And so what we're offering here is going to be a lot of different options within that, depending on what level you'd like to, what level you're able to at your house while still being able to get the essence of everything. And so we'll kind of, it'll make more sense as we go, but this one will be mostly an introduction and a welcome. And then by the next session, I'll actually have a PDF, put it on the board. You'll see exactly what topics that I'm speaking about and how it's laid out. It's very skillful. I'm so grateful for the teachers, really. And just one of the essences of it, before I pass the mic to Lama, one of the essences of it that really touches me so deeply is we come from a lineage of awakened masters that were lay practitioners, meaning they had families, they were farmers like most of us. They worked on the land, they led normal lives, but really had these practices that allowed them to transform their body, speech, and mind into enlightened activity. And so the essence of this is utilizing this very precious vehicle. You look around, all the species that are around on this planet, how many beings are just in a handful of dirt, of soil? How many beings are there? And the fact that this consciousness took birth in this form at this time is extremely fortunate. And the fact that it met these teachings in Costa Rica, where there's coconuts and so much beauty and paradise, is very, very fortunate. It's like beyond fortunate. And so to utilize this body, speech, and mind to wake up its fullest capacity is so precious. And to have the interest to do it is so precious. And we'll go over this another day, but there's 18 specific factors that had to have taken place for everyone to be here today. And it's very precious. And so it means like to utilize this time so well. And these practices, what they help us to do is to wake up in this very life. It's said that we all have Buddha nature, or we all have divinity within us. We all have the capacity to understand reality just as it is, to understand reality and to love all beings. And only in this human form can we actually wake up that capacity. And so only in this form do we have the capacity to wake up this potential completely and fully. And so these practices, what they're asking, what they're allowing us to do is we're going to be working with channels and chakras, or they're called nadis. We're going to be working with our whole body system. We're going to be working with both the philosophy as well as the practices. And so the opportunity is that we can wake up in this life. If we can't wake up in this life, we can wake up in the dreams. If we can't wake up in the dreams, then we wake up at the moment of death. If we can't wake up at the moment of death, then we got lots of options in the bardo. If we can't wake up in the many options in the bardo, we can wake up in we can consciously take on a pure birth. And so that's what it means to fully occupy this beautiful mind, and to fully wake up this beautiful mind, and to love all of humanity and love all beings. And by that very nature of being in service to all beings, it brings about our own happiness that's unwavering. No matter what condition comes, it becomes a practice on the path. It becomes the soil that we need to grow the beautiful lotus of our life. And so this is something that gives us both temporary happiness right now, right here, while also setting this and all future lives up for happiness and for the benefit of all beings. So that's what we're kind of embarking on. So when we were requested to have a master's class, that's what the way we perceive it. And so, yeah, as I mentioned, I'll make it like, I know we're an oral tradition, but I will make a PDF, make it like beautiful, functional, so everyone can see. There'll be different like sections. For example, like we'll say for the next 4 weeks, we're going to go on the 4 thoughts that turn the mind. So it's like one module, right? Then we'll move into the next one. And we have a camera here. It's not on any of y'all, just so you know. It's only looking at Lama, so everyone feels comfortable. But this just allows anyone that's not here, it will be recorded so that you can see it in case you're out of town or anything, and you can still follow along the path. And also gives an opportunity for our international Sangha to be involved. So thank you so much. We're very excited to be here, very happy for this request, and happy to be going on a journey with you.
Y él habla español porque mucho español creo.
Que solo habla en español. Does any, aquí, por la cámara. Okay. En resumen, muy buenas tardes a todos. Y bueno, ahora voy a repetir un poco por Sangha. Does anyone in this room only speak Spanish? Como todos ¿Ah? ¿Alguien aquí solo habla español? ¿Solamente? Okay, pero para el Zoom.
¿Tiembla alguna persona?
Sí, no sé, no estoy seguro. Solo en resumen voy a decir que había una request aquí que nosotros quieren un curso de maestría, como un masterclass. Entonces, para nosotros vamos a estar empezando el curso que Lama recibió en sus 4 años de retiro. Estamos haciéndolo en un formato que puede ser por personas que tienen familias, personas que tengan trabajo y están en la finca y todo eso. Entonces, ahora estamos resumiendo el camino de Quintuple Mahamudra y vamos a ponerlo en un formato, aunque es una tradición oral, también vamos a ponerlo en un formato que tiene como PDFs y que tiene todo como muy bien, que todos pueden ver bien qué son los temas. Va a estar un curso que dura años, pero tú tienes una oportunidad a venir a una clase, tú puedes comprometer todo el curso, tú puedes hacer todos los módulos de como 4 semanas o 6 semanas. Todo va a estar en orden, paso a paso, para despertar nuestra naturaleza. Nosotros tenemos la capacidad para despertar en esta vida misma. Y si no podemos despertar en esta vida, podemos despertar en los sueños. Si no podemos despertar en los sueños, podemos despertar al momento de morir, o en el bardo, o para nacer en una vida pura, en un nacimiento pura. Entonces, esos son los entrenamientos. Eso va a estar en clase paso a paso, filosofía y práctica. Va a haber varias opciones. Si no puedes cumplir 100,000, puedes hacer 10,000. Si no 10,000, puedes hacer 1,000. Hay varias opciones para que adapta a todas las vidas, a todas las personas y necesidades. Y bueno, eso vamos a aprender varias cosas y estamos muy agradecidos que Lama está aquí y muy bienvenida, Lama.
Ok. Primero que todo, voy un pequeño recalito simbólico.
First of all, before we begin, I'd like to offer a little symbolic gift.
Voy llamar Cassandra y Nico.
For Cassandra and Nico.
Uno pequeño. Ese se llama Vajra.
This is called a Vajra.
Vajra sin diamante.
And the Vajra means diamond.
Diamante vale.
It's like the Diamond Valley,
Entonces,
Diamante Valley.
Pero el significado, Vajra significa una esencia.
But the Vajra represents our essence.
Tiene 5 puntos.
It has 5 points.
5 elementos.
And has 5 elements.
Agua, tierra, fuego, aire, espacio.
The earth, water, wind, fire, and space.
Eso es Vajra, ¿no?
And so that's the essence of the Vajra.
Y inquebrantables.
And it's unshakable, unbreakable.
Entonces yo voy gratitud para ello.
So I'd like to offer my gratitude to both of you.
siempre ellos muy como incondicional, como muy generosidad, siempre haciendo, recibiendo personas de tierras
And
sagradas.
so they've really just been so generous receiving people here at Tierras.
Y seguro, cambiados algunas gotas de conciencia, 100% no hay duda.
And
Personas.
I'm so sure that people have at least had a drop of change in their
Pero
life.
es un maravilloso.
And so this is marvelous.
Entonces, es en nombre de toda la comunidad,
And,
digamos, ¿no?
and so on behalf of the whole community, I would like to offer these to you.
Unos simbólicos chiquititos,
It's
pero
a
eso
small symbol,
bendecido de ti, de
but
los
it's been
maestros.
blessed by all of the masters.
¿Ya? Y como gratitud. Gracias. Gracias, Sandra. Sí, Cassandra. Maravilla. Gracias. 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 Mi hermano Nico. Nicocito.
Gracias.
Qué lindo. Lindo. Ok. Y por supuesto, muchas gracias a todos los equipos de Tierra Sagrado.
And I also want to thank the whole team here at Tierras,
Y también Kirsten. Y
And also
también de la
Christian.
tecnología ayudando todo para Zoom.
who's also been, he's helping us here on Zoom right now as
Gracias.
well, amongst other things.
Y también gracias a todos los equipos parte de Wachin también.
And also the Dewa Chen team.
Y alguien está también en la online, varios sangas está ayudando también.
And then all of our sanghas that are here with us online.
Y haga Pamcita o siempre acompañando.
And then Pam and
Brad.
Papa Brad.
Y también nuestro amigo Quereto viene muy lejos para Dan y Karina.
And Papa Dan and Carrie have come from very far to come see us.
Pero viene manejando después de un viaje largo para escuchar la Dharma.
And driving a very long way after a long journey already just to come listen to the Dharma.
Todo maravilloso, bienvenido.
And so please welcome
Y
everybody.
bienvenido a cada uno de ustedes,
And
¿no?
really, I want to welcome each one of
Y
you.
mayoría de ustedes viven ese Diamante Valley.
So I know that a lot of you live in the Diamante Valley
Entonces,
in Costa Rica.
Maravilloso. Ya. Ok, entonces, antes yo costumbre comienza un poquito rezo para intención,
And so it's kind of my custom that before we begin, we always do a prayer.
¿no? Siempre como algo, como traer la nuestra presencia.
It's
Eso
like-
es súper
It's
importante.
really about bringing our presence here to one place.
Porque a veces nosotros físicamente participamos, pero mente es otro lado, ¿verdad?
Sometimes we're physically here, but then our mind is in a different place.
Entonces no estamos completos su presencia.
So then we're not completely here.
Porque Dharma requiere una completa presencia. Ese
So
momento,
Dharma requires that our mind is fully present right here,
Entonces-
right now.
intención pura. Realmente yo quiero despertar, quiero ser mejor persona.
And so the intention is pure. I would like to be the best version of myself that I could be.
Y quiere servir mejor para todos los seres.
And I would like to better serve all sentient beings.
Eso es mi meta, ¿no?
That's my goal for being here today.
Es una intención correcta.
And so
¿no?
this is the correct intention.
Incluye todas las tus otras intenciones chiquititos.
And then and
No.
then all of all of our other smaller intentions
No.
are also here too.
Cuando tú viajes porque yo digo, yo mejor viaje a San José, por
So
ejemplo, ¿ya?
usually you have a major intention. It's like, I'm going to go to San Jose.
Incluye todo la paseo,
And I'm
como la
also
isla,
gonna get
San Isidro,
coconuts.
Cartagos, todo incluye.
Yeah, and then all the other things along the way. I'm going to Cartago. I'm getting
Entonces,
coconuts on the way.
por
So,
eso-
but you have one major intention.
Siempre ponga la destino final como más barato, ¿cierto? Cuando autos, ¿no?
Yeah, so you want to go ahead and mark your final destination.
¿Entendeu? Yo cuando viajaba a Cartago, por ejemplo, ahora recién, ¿no? Entonces debe tener como la San José, por ejemplo, ¿no? Uno más distancia mayor, ¿no?
Uh-huh.
Yo como donde quiere bajar, yo libre.
Uh-huh. So you have to like make sure you're marking your destination well. Like I just went to Cartago, but they made me get a ticket to San Jose, so I can stop wherever I want to along the way.
Ujú.
But I gotta make sure that my like GPS is marked correctly.
Sí, yo compro hasta Cartago, porque no tenía exactamente, ahí tiene que tomar otro buses hasta llegar a Cartago, ¿no?
So like if I
Mhm.
want to go beyond Cartago, then I actually have to like go ahead and get a ticket beyond
Más
Cartago
costoso, ¿no?
because it's more costly if you're trying to go little by little. So better mark your intention right from the beginning.
¿Entendeu? Eso es súper importante, primero, ¿no?
So it's very
No,
important.
Porque a veces no entendemos que hay diferente intención, ¿no? Como eso quiere decir, ¿no?
And so I say that because sometimes if I say like let's set our intention, we might not
Mhm.
understand what
Entonces-
that means. So he's
Okay.
saying it needs to be an intention where we want to be at the service of all beings, and that's why I'm here today.
Y vamos todo un momento postura más cómoda,
So coming
más
into a comfortable position,
natural, ¿no?
into something comfortable but relaxed position.
Tampoco no preocupación arreglar su intención, ¿ya?
And don't worry too much about fixing your intentions.
Solo 3 respiraciones
Just
profundamente.
take 3 breaths
Deja libre,
and allow your mind to be free for a moment.
cuerpo libre,
Allow your body to be
mente
free
libre,
and your mind.
sentimiento libre.
Allow your feelings to be free.
Solo tú atendo tu respiración. Estoy respirando.
So just paying attention to your breath and know that I'm breathing right now.
Estoy inhalando.
I know that I'm breathing right now.
Estoy exhalando.
I know that I'm exhaling right
Solo
now.
tú percibir eso.
Just perceive that.
Puede cruzar millón de pensamientos, no rechaza ni apega.
Millions of thoughts can cross your mind. Don't worry, don't reject them and don't attach to them. Just let them
Todos son
be.
de pasajero,
They're just passing through.
impermanencia,
They're all impermanent.
como neblina,
And it's
neblina de montañas.
just like the mist or the fog going through the mountains.
Solo tú mantener tu centro,
And so just maintain your center
centro tu corazón.
and the center of your heart.
Solo sentir corazón.
Just feeling your heart.
Corazón es casa sagrado, templo sagrado de nuestro mente divinos.
Your heart is the center of your divine mind.
Solo sentirla ahí.
Just feel the mind there
Solo escucharla esas oraciones.
and just listen to these prayers.
Sangye jedan zoge jonam lai changjo barado dani gyabzo chi dagi jizo ngebe sonan gi dola banjire sangye druparajo sangye jedan zoge jonam lai changjo barado dani gyabzo chi dagi jizo ngebe sonan gi dola banjir sangye druparajo sangye jedan zoge jonam lai changjo barado dani gyabzo Dagi jizo gebe zonan ge dola manjire sanje dowa yo mananga da nyambe simje nanje dewa nan dewe yudan dembara gyoruji donga dan donga ge gyodan rawar gyoruji donga mebe dewa dan me rawar gyoruji Nene chana ni dan darwe dan nyom la ne war gyoruji Changdar wa dan juji jawa nan je zo irang gu yi zo inge wa jung de la ge je Pam je zo be chan jo che re Después Lama repite uno mantra de purificación corto.
So repeating after Lama for a mantra of purification.
Om Bachara,
Om Bajra,
Satu Hung.
Satu Hung.
Om Bachara,
Om Bajra,
Satu Hung.
Satu Hung.
Om Bajara Sadu. 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 Om Bajar Sado. Solo inhalar, exhalar profundamente.
Inhaling and exhaling deeply.
Solo escuchando con música de naturaleza que está cantando.
Just listening to the music of nature,
Los seres.
the way that all the beings are singing to us right now.
Unos mantras, ¿no?
All of
Mantras,
this, all of
constantemente
this
mantras.
sound is mantra.
Solo recibe la vibración de la tierra.
Just receive this vibration of the earth.
Solo siente esa una pura sanación. Todo eso
Just feel
sanación.
all of this healing.
Solo repara libremente, inhalar,
Just breathing freely,
libremente, inhalar, exhalar.
inhaling and exhaling,
Sentir yo soy libertad,
and feel I'm free.
internamente libertad.
Internally, I'm free.
Solo conecta tu naturaleza,
Just connecting with your nature
innato.
innately, your
de
innate
bondad, de
nature,
todas las cualidades.
the innate loving kindness and all the qualities that you were born with.
Eso yo soy.
This is who I really am.
Solo sentir ese momento,
Just feeling this in that moment.
sentir su presencia,
Just
presencia.
feeling this presence
Estoy respirando.
and feel that I'm breathing right now.
Inhalando y exhalando profundamente,
So inhaling and exhaling deeply,
profundamente.
very deeply,
Solta.
and relaxing.
Se puede mover un poquito su
You
cuello.
can move in your neck a little bit.
Quiere mover poquito, manos, tirando poco.
You can stretch your hands and your body.
Ok. Maravilloso todos, pura vida.
Marvelous, everybody. Pure, pura vida.
Yo siendo muy feliz,
I really feel so happy
presencia de cada uno de ustedes.
to having the presence of each one of you here.
Es un honor siempre compartir.
It's really such an honor to have an opportunity to share
Una gota de Dharma.
a little drop of Dharma.
Ustedes saben, hoy el mundo es un poco desafío, ¿cierto? Generar el mundo, ¿cierto?
And so, you know, like today in the world, there's lots of challenges.
Entonces, nosotros muy preciosos, en medio de en la bosque de la templo, ¿no? Haciendo esos dharmas, realmente
It is really,
ayuda a eso.
it is so fortunate to be here in the jungle, in a temple, in the sky with the Dharma. It really helps humanity.
Un paquete completo,
And
realmente,
it's
en la vida,
really
¿no?
a complete package in life.
Más que eso no necesita.
There
en
is
vida, ¿no?
nothing beyond this. You
Todo,
don't
¿no?
need anything more than
Realidad,
this.
¿no? Como a veces nuestro ego reclama todavía, ¿cierto?
But sometimes our ego is just wanting more all the time.
No satisfecho, nunca
It's never
como
satisfied.
como reclama,
And
¿no?
we're just like complaining about everything.
Nunca gratitud.
We're never just grateful for
And
what
no
we
hay
have.
felicidad.
And then there's no happiness.
Ya, por eso, gratitud comienza primero.
So really start with gratitude first.
Oh, ¿qué tengo? Vida
Like,
preciosa.
I'm so grateful for this
¿Qué tengo?
precious
Condición
life,
favorable.
these precious
Estoy
favorable
viviendo.
conditions that we have.
La mañana despierto con la respiración.
Today I woke up with breath.
Puede fallecer noche.
I could have
dormido,
died at
no
nighttime,
levanta.
but I woke up with breath today.
Muchas personas pasan eso, ¿no?
This happens to people. They
Oh,
die
un
in the
día
night.
más.
So you wake up, there's a new day.
Eso es uno maravilloso
And
comienza,
it's
¿no?
really wonderful to start that way.
Eso es importante sentir cada día.
Really feel that way every day.
Cada la mañana un nuevo nacimiento,
Every morning as a new birth.
un bebé nuevo,
It's like a new baby,
mente fresco.
a new fresh mind.
Porque cada noche dormimos muriendo todos los pensamientos y elaboraciones.
Because every night you go to sleep and these elaborations and thoughts, they die.
Muri, dormir.
So every day we're dying and we're being reborn.
¿Qué es morir?
What's dying?
Pensamiento viejo morir.
All of these old thoughts, they die.
Hábito morir.
All of our habits,
Viejos,
they
¿no?
die.
Como si fuera una hoja de árbol soltando en la tierra,
It's
¿no?
like the old leaves from the tree that are releasing into the earth.
Creciendo cada la mañana nuevo
And
hojas,
every morning a new plant is born.
flores,
New flowers are
nueva
born.
conciencia,
New consciousness.
nuevas cualidades,
New
¿no?
qualities.
Eso tiene que sentir, eso primero comienza,
This
¿no?
is what we need to feel.
Ya, entonces, Acá, mayoría de ustedes viviendo mucho comunidades, ¿no? Como diferentes comunidades participados.
And so I know that many of you live in different communities and participate in different communities.
Todos nosotros tenemos misma página, ¿cierto?
And I think we're all on the same page.
Todos estamos, quiero mejor persona,
I want to be the best person I can be.
quiero despertar,
I want to wake up.
quiero mejor servicio
I'd
mundo,
like to be in service of the world.
quiero proteger el ambiente,
I'd like to protect nature.
lo mismo esa intención,
I
¿no?
think we're on
Todo
the same
eso, ¿no?
page.
Todo eso nos tenemos, ¿verdad?
This is what we all have.
Y por eso, maravilloso eso, ¿no?
So how marvelous.
Lama tengo lo mismo esa intención.
Llama's got the same intention,
Pero yo vengo como familia de Himalaya, ¿cierto?
but I come from the Himalayan family.
Entonces, Lama simplemente compartiendo
And so,
un pequeño método de Buda de Dharma.
and so I
Dharma
want
de
to
Buda.
share a little method that I want to share some methods that came from the Buddha Dharma,
Algunas sirven.
because I think some of those methods could be valuable.
Como mi maestro Diego sabiduría de arcoíris, ¿cierto?
It's like my teacher said, it's like getting the wisdom of the whole rainbow of humanity.
¿No? Pongamos todo en la mesa,
Let's put
sabiduría.
all of it here at the table together.
¿Cuál tú piensas mejor es tu opinión,
And
no?
like, what are your thoughts? What do you think?
Otro cuál mejor, ¿no?
And what do you think?
Varios coloritos,
And we're going to see all the different various colors.
más belleza.
And there's so much more beauty.
No nacer una sola opinión. Eso es correcto, otro no. No
It
puede
doesn't have
negar
to be
eso,
like
¿no?
only this is correct and nothing else is.
Porque camino es una medicina.
Because the path is actually medicine.
En su sentido, Dalai Lama dijo eso.
His Holiness the Dalai Lama says that.
Nunca puede decir medicina, esa medicina mejor es.
And you
No puede
can't
decir.
say this medicine is the best medicine for everybody.
Porque bueno, medicina estómago mejor que todo, no puede decir,
You
¿verdad?
can't say the medicine for my stomach is the best medicine for every ailment.
Cuando duele cabeza,
When your head hurts,
no va a servir.
that's not going to work.
No sirve, no importa, $1,000,000 tú pagado, una medicina de estómago, no sirve para la
Even
cabeza.
if you pay $1 million for medicine that's for the stomach, if you're trying to use it for your head, it's not going to
No
work.
sirve, ¿no? Lo mismo,
So it's the same.
camino es medicina, dice,
The
¿no?
path, the spiritual path is medicine.
Porque Lama Dorje, por ejemplo,
So for Lama,
camino de Buda, ¿no?
the path of Buddha,
Desde familia y abuelo, todo ese linaje
from
fue.
my family, from my ancestors, from my grandparents, this has been our lineage.
Para mí mejor.
And so for me,
Para Lama
this
Dorje.
works very well for me.
No puede decir mejor para todos.
And I
no puede
can't
decir.
say it's the best for everybody.
Eso es una medicina, ¿no?
But what I can say is it has very good medicine.
Por eso nosotros es primero importante esa intención firmemente, ¿no?
And so if you're coming to this intention strongly, like strongly know your intention.
En segundo lugar, tú dígalo, yo tengo esa intención, o yo tengo condición de poder hacer o no, yo puedo, ya, como eso, ¿no?
So I have this intention, and then we question, do I have the conditions to achieve my intention?
Yo quiero hacer un té chai, por ejemplo,
I would like a chai tea, for
¿tiene
example.
ingrediente correcto o
Do I
no?
have the correct ingredients or not?
Segundo paso, tiene
That's
que
the
hacer, ¿no?
second question.
No
Do I-
simplemente, no, quiero té chai,
so
no,
you can't
no
just say, I
suficiente.
want chai.
Pero mira, tú tienes condición correcta,
So,
favorables,
Do I
¿no?
have the correct favorable conditions or ingredients to make it happen?
Eso sí, tengo,
And
sí.
so the answer is yes.
Porque el budismo dice, todo ser tiene naturaleza de búdicos,
So
¿no?
in the vision of Buddhism, we say every being has Buddha nature within them.
Ayer hablamos poquito, ¿cierto?
We spoke about that a little yesterday.
No importa cuál forma, ¿ya?
It doesn't matter what form a being has
Cuál creencia, no es importante.
or what belief system you have.
Ahí tiene esencia, un potencial,
You've got the essence of potential to wake up.
ese de fundamentos,
And
¿no?
that's the fundamental nature.
Como si fuera agua, ¿cierto? Agua.
It's like water.
Agua puede hacer sopa,
Water can be made into soup.
agua puede hacer la café,
Water can be made into coffee.
agua puede hacer té,
Water can be made into tea.
pero importante agua,
But it's important that you have water.
no agua como utilizar.
If there's no water, what are
No
you going
té,
to
ni
do?
café, ni sopa.
You can't make any of it.
Es como si fuera aguas.
So
Agua, esencia
our
aguas.
nature, like the nature of potential is like that. It can take on any form.
Tú tienes, ¿no?
And you have that nature.
Eso es importante, autoconfianza,
So
eso, ¿no?
there has to be a self-confidence and self-trust that that nature exists within me.
Porque muchas personas me preguntó eso, ¿no?
So many people ask me,
Porque Lama, usted siempre dijo, ¿cómo yo sabe tengo eso? ¿Cómo
So-
yo sabe?
Mama, you always say that I have a divine nature. Like, how do I know that?
Primero, por ejemplo, lo miramos desde los animales, por ejemplo, ¿no?
First, let's look at our like animal family.
Por ejemplo, animal más ainda como tigres y yo caza todo la, no sé, otro animalito, ¿no? con poco rabioso, por ejemplo, igual él tiene amor su propio hijo, su familia.
So
un
you can
amor.
just look at animals, for example. Even though like something like a tiger might be dangerous, it can attack maybe through anger. They also have so much love for their own children. And so
Tiene
they have
amor.
that love right there.
¿Ese dónde nació?
Where did that love come
Sino
from?
su naturaleza y ese
Its
amor.
own nature is love.
Pero temporalmente a veces no sé, para vivir tiene que comer a otros
But
seres, ¿no?
temporarily, like in order to live, like maybe they need to attack.
¿No? Porque sí, pero ellos realmente tienen un amor, su
But
fundamento, ¿no?
love is their fundamental nature.
Y nosotros, como por ejemplo, pues miramos ya muchos seres iluminados hoy día mundo,
So
¿no?
we can also look at enlightened beings that live on this planet right now.
No solo pensamos en el Buda, ya,
I'm
ese
not
2500 años atrás,
I'm not
digamos,
talking
¿no?
about the Buddha that lived 2,500 years ago. I'm talking about people that are living on this planet right now.
Pero ese planeta Tierra,
On this earth right now, there are
igual
enlightened beings.
muchos seres especiales,
There are very special beings here,
humanos,
and they are human.
que ha cambiado un nivel de conciencia.
They changed their own. They changed and transformed their own level of consciousness.
Ese prueba, ¿no?
That's another example. Is that it actually exists in other humans?
Porque él tiene cerebro,
They have a brain.
yo tengo cerebro,
I have a brain.
yo tengo corazón, él tiene
I have a
corazón.
heart. They have a heart.
La misma condición.
We actually have the same conditions.
Pero uno no practica, ¿no?
But one didn't practice.
Es otra cosa.
That's
¿no?
a different thing.
Oh, yo tengo todas las condiciones, durmiendo en la cama no va a
I have
suceder.
all these great conditions and I'm going to sleep instead.
Eso no va a pasar nada,
Then
¿verdad?
nothing's going to happen to
Como
you.
guardado, yo allá hablan, uno semilla guardado en la caja, en la casa.
It's like saving a seed inside of a box in your house and not ever doing anything with it.
1000 años guardado,
You can store it for 1,000 years
hasta encuentro la cause condition no va a suceder.
until you encounter the proper causes and conditions for that seed. Nothing's going to happen with that seed.
Algún momento entra, oh, va a sembrar ya.
And as soon as that seed goes into the soil
Tierra fértil.
and gets water, then that fertile soil will give birth to that seed.
¿Entendeu? Ese es como Dharma.
So
Dharma, ¿no?
this is what Dharma does to our nature.
Pero ese detalle después va hablando ya en
I'm
los
gonna
cursos, ¿ya?
Throughout the course, I'll talk to you more about that.
Pero es importante primero saber eso, ¿no?
But it's
Primero,
important to like
como
know that from the beginning.
esencia, ¿verdad? Ya. Entonces, eso nosotros primero es importante. Todos nosotros realmente mirar ese potencial, ¿ya?
So really, it's important for us to know about this potential first
Ya,
and foremost.
realmente, ¿no? No dígale, oh, yo no soy de budista o otra creencia. Tampoco no cambia nada, ¿no? No cambia nada. Igual esencia siempre hay, ¿no?
So don't say something like, "Oh, I'm not Buddhist and I have a different belief system." Regardless if you're Buddhist or not, you still have this essence in you.
Igual, los animales como no quieren vivir en la salvaje, ¿no?
Even an animal that doesn't have a belief system that lives in nature.
Y no tiene un dogma, un
They
camino,
don't
¿verdad?
have a dogma, they don't have a specific path,
Que tiene esencia.
but they have this essence.
Como es. Pero existen muchos métodos, ¿verdad?
And there's
Muchos
many
métodos.
methods.
Yo digo colorito de un arcoíris, ¿no?
And like I said, it's like there's the different colors of the rainbow of wisdom.
Para despertar eso.
There's many ways to wake this up.
O eso es importante, ¿no?
So it's very important.
Por eso hay mucho camino hoy día eso, ¿no?
So there's many paths these days.
Por eso es muy importante paso y paso,
So it's
¿cierto?
very good to know what's a step-by-step path.
¿Cómo sembrarla tú sembrado? Nosotros tenemos jardín, ¿cómo
Same thing
sembramos,
in
no?
your garden. What do you do in the garden?
Primero que todo que nacida.
What do you do first?
Nacida donde uno cama, donde sembrar, ¿no? Lugar.
First, you need to like prepare a space where you're going to be cultivating.
Después, no hay semilla, ¿qué pasa?
If there's no seed, what do you do?
Tierra vacío.
Then the earth is just bare.
¿Cuál paso? Segundo, ¿no?
So what's the second step?
Fertilizar la tierra
I
bien.
need to fertilize
¿no?
that soil.
Todo bien. Ahora, después ya ponga la
Now
semilla.
I'm going to put that seed,
En nace de agua,
and I need water,
como todos los alimentos,
and
¿no?
then I need all the different elements.
Y paso a paso ya,
And
fruta da,
step by step, the fruit arises.
¿no? ¿Cómo es eso, verdad?
It's just
Todo
like
tiene
that.
paso. Todo tiene
Everything
paso.
has a step by step.
Pues yo quiero un mango, porque
If you want mango,
no crece mañana, ¿verdad?
you can't just put the seed and a mango grows tomorrow.
Es 5 años
It's at
mínimo.
least 5 years.
Un proceso, ¿verdad?
It's a process.
Lo mismo nos internos
The
procesos, ¿no?
same as our own inner process.
En los grandes maestros, por ejemplo,
And these great masters,
todo ello práctico realmente,
they
¿no?
all
Por
practice.
práctica diariamente, ¿no?
Daily they practice step by step.
Y da fruto.
And now you see the fruit.
Y él no viene natural. Oh, yo vengo de nació eso. Lama Dorje, mi personalmente.
They
¿no?
weren't just born as a master. It didn't occur like that, including Lama.
No, yo no significa como desperto, ¿ya?
I'm not saying that I'm fully enlightened.
Yo desde chiquitito,
From a young child,
mi propia mi vida, condición,
and the conditions
como
of
con
my
el mente,
the conditions of my life and my mind.
de malísimo, malísimo, ¿no?
I-
Negatividad, ¿no?
Like I had a lot of negativity in my mind.
Porque yo soy humano, ¿no?
I'm also human.
No nací uno positivo, uno budista.
I
¿no?
didn't like I wasn't born like a positive little baby.
¿Entendió? Ahí tiene ciertos realmente, ¿no? Tiene que resolver cosas,
Like
¿no?
there were things that I practiced and I worked through
Porque karma tendencia de pasado. ¿no?
because our karmic tendencies of the past, we carry those
Y
with us.
entrenaron todos mis profesores,
And so
maestros.
I
¿no?
trained with my masters.
Recuerda, tú tienes cualidades.
They said,
Recuerda
remember
tu
your
cualidad.
qualities. Remember your
Cada vez
qualities.
me repitiendo mucho
Every
mantra.
time saying, remember these qualities, almost like a mantra.
Oh, tú eres precioso, vida humano.
You have a precious human
Tú
life.
eres divino.
You're a divine being.
Lleno de amor.
You're full of love.
Solo hacen de eso,
And
¿verdad?
so just reminding me,
Es para recordar, oh, yo sí
oh,
tengo.
you're
ok,
right.
tengo.
I do have that.
Ese manera yo actúo, oh, amor, yo
And so
amor, yo
in
soy de
that way,
amor.
I began to act in that way.
¿Entendió? Como esa manera está quebrando, se está abriendo,
So
¿cierto?
then I'm breaking those habits by practicing.
Nosotros tenemos a veces, por ejemplo, también, familia, digo, oh, tú eres muy mal persona, otro amigo, tú malo. Y yo también quiero, oh, yo soy malo.
So in
¿no?
our lives, our families sometimes and people in our life had said, you're bad, you're doing this wrong. And we began to believe that.
¿No? Esa manera queriendo camino negatividades,
And so
¿no?
we create this negative pathway.
Oh, después no sentí nada por nuestra de vida.
And
¿no?
then I don't feel purpose in life.
Consumir la droga,
And maybe
alcohólico,
we
etcétera.
take substances or alcohol.
Pierde la vida.
And we actually lose time in life. And we lose our life in general.
¿Entendeu? Por eso es importante para recordarse, de recordar primero.
And so, first of all, remember this.
Ya. Entonces, hoy, claro, hoy más instrucción, ¿no? Yo
And
tengo alguna poquito, mi escritito, poquito.
So I got a little couple notes today that I
Uh-huh.
took down
Yeah.
for everybody.
Hablar. Y igual, Lama, hoy va a hablar poquito más para tener informaciones.
So
¿ya?
today I'm going to speak a little bit more to give you more of an introduction.
Estamos entrando camino de la quíntuple Mahamudra,
We're
¿no?
entering into the path of Fivefold
Como
Mahamudra.
significar camino de la despertar, ¿no?
And so we're talking about entering into the path of awakening.
Entonces, estamos preparando.
So we're going to prepare some information before we enter into the door
Entonces, eso es un camino paso y paso.
because it is a path that's step by step.
Porque a veces nosotros perdemos el camino. Y
Because
si perdemos el
sometimes,
camino.
because it's possible to get lost on the path.
Yo tengo algunos grupos, algunas como la Colombia, alguna Chile, por ejemplo, ¿no? Porque a veces ellos pierden el camino casi algunos 15 años en el camino.
I have some of my groups like in Chile and Colombia, and sometimes like we get so many different teachings that we get lost on the path. I've had people that are practicing for 15 years and then sometimes feel a little confused of where the next step is.
Porque ¿dónde comenzar?
Because you have to know where to begin.
Many options.
There's so many options of
Cada
teachings.
maestro, oh, eso es bueno eso.
Each teacher
Eso es
says
bueno.
this is good and
es
that's
bueno.
good and do this.
Entonces, ellos temporalizan, ¿no?
But sometimes there's just a temporary teaching.
Entonces ahí, ahora nosotros da cuenta, nada serio, como pasos y pasos ahí,
So
¿no?
we need to know that there's a path and there's a step-by-step way to
Uno-
get to where we want to go.
Camino raíz.
There's a route path.
Tú puedes agregar más ala, ¿ya?
So you can walk on a route path while still getting teachings from other teachers.
Incluso tú puedes tomar la medicina, por
And you
ejemplo,
can even do the like plant medicine.
¿ya? No hay problema, ¿ya?
No
hay
problem.
problema. Mantén ese camino raíz,
But maintain a
race.
route path for what your intention is.
no perder. No
Don't
perder.
get lost on your
No
spiritual
salir, ¿no?
path.
Entonces tú puedes agregar más a las cosas
And
que
you
has
can
desarrollado, ¿no?
add the different teachings that add to it, but just make sure that you know you have a path and that you're following
Yo
it.
personalmente he participado en muchos temacales.
I've actually participated in lots of temazcals, sweat lodge.
¿Entendeu? Pero no significa yo. Alguna vez de, oh, Lama Dorje ya ahora cambió camino chamánico. Digo,
And then,
muchas veces,
and
¿no?
then they said, oh, now Lama Dorje is part of the shamanic path.
Muchas veces diciendo, ¿no? La
And-
budista,
But
¿no?
they're saying,
Algo,
all my,
¿no?
some of my Lama friends, they're like,
juzgamento.
oh, now he's
Algunos
like a
juzgamentos.
shaman.
Alguna broma, algunos
Some are
juzgamentos,
like
¿no?
judging me, some are joking.
Yo no hay importancia,
I'm
¿no?
like, no matter what they
Mi
say,
camino yo conozco.
I know my path.
¿no? ¿Entendeu? Camino entero.
I know my inner path.
Todos esos métodos.
And
¿no?
all of these are methods to
Dejar,
help support
tirar,
us,
establece nuestro
to
camino, ¿no?
stabilize our mind and stabilize
Otra opinión muy
path.
importante escuchar.
And it's good to listen to the opinions and to the teachings.
Ellos hablan muy profundo de como 4 elementos, ¿no?
Because these other teachings teach us so deeply about the 4 elements and about ourselves.
Muy lindo como ellos hablan, ¿no?
It's so beautiful.
Yo agrego quinto elementos. Yo
And
agrego,
now
¿no?
I'm adding the 5th element.
Como con ellas, ¿no?
And
Como
no, when I'm in those teachings, and there's about 4 elements, and I add the 5th one, which is
más
consciousness
rico,
and space.
elemento más rico.
Oh,
¿no?
now we have 5, and it's even more
¿no?
rich.
Por ejemplo, esa manera puede hacerse,
So
¿no?
in that way, we learn from
No
each other.
conflictos, ¿no?
So there's no
No
conflict.
hace guerra,
There's
¿no?
no
Entre los
conflict
caminos,
in
¿no?
the past.
Mi punto de vista.
There's no war between the past. There's no conflict between the past.
Respetos, ¿no?
There is respect.
Es su sentido, Dalai Lama siempre digo, yo recuerdo, ¿no?
His Holiness the Dalai Lama always said,
Dice, general ese mundo está problema, ¿no?
in general in this world,
Con la
there are
guerra, como
problems
todo, ¿no?
with war. And
Eso es como algo normal, de como mundano, ¿no?
like this is happening, this is like a normal occurrence in the world right now.
Además, tiene uno como la espiritual camino tiene guerra, dice.
And then even on the spiritual path, people are like making like discussions
Ese
and kind of
bueno, ese malo,
wars
¿no? Como
against,
no.
you know, like judging each other. This is good or this is bad.
Entonces, ese ya digo, uno grande tristeza.
And that's a
¿no?
really deep sadness.
Porque el camino espiritual, supongamos, ayuda a resolver los problemas del mundo,
Because
¿no?
supposedly the spiritual path is supposed to help us resolve all these other issues in the global level.
Y está atrapado con los propios problemas,
So-
¿cómo puede salvar para otros?
So if you're trapped in your own problems there, then how can we actually support others?
Eso no es bueno a mi punto de vista,
So
¿no?
that's
Yo
not so
siempre-
good.
Eso es importante, por eso Lama digo ahora, Lama donde vengo haga, no convertirse budista ustedes,
So
¿no?
I'm here right now, and I'm not here to convert you into becoming Buddhist.
No forzar nada.
I'm
¿no?
not going to force that on you.
Solo presentar
But I'm going to present to you
algunos métodos,
some methods
algunas herramientas
and some tools
que puede servir en la vida.
that could really help your life.
Seguro va a servir.
And I'm sure they will help.
Yo puedo hablar dignamente porque yo he experimentado.
And I
¿no?
can say that with dignity because I experienced them myself.
Yo caminé.
I walked this.
Una parte de mi vida realmente transformada.
Really, a good part of my
Yo
life.
soy muy miedoso cuando chiquitito.
Really, my life was changed. I was very like kind of fearful and timid when I
Después
was
desapareció,
younger.
no hay miedo
And it
más.
totally disappeared. There's no fear now.
Porque miedo conduce con la, como llama, como la nuestros egos, como aversión, todas las aflicciones,
Because
¿cierto?
fear is like a product of our ego. It's a product of our afflictions.
Cuando tú confiesas realmente tu esencia,
But when you
naturaliza.
really trust in your own Buddha nature,
Yo soy ser divino,
that
¿no?
I am a divine being,
Miedo desaparece.
then that fear will actually dissolve.
Y desarrolla autoconfianza.
And so then you develop self-confidence.
Confiesa tu esencia, ¿no?
You're trusting
Esencia.
in your
No con
essence,
la ego, ¿verdad?
not trusting
Es
in the
diferente.
ego. It's different.
Confianza con esencia,
So
¿no?
trusting that essence.
Ya. Por esa manera nos respetamos todos los seres, ¿cierto?
And so in that way, we want to respect all beings
Ya, todos los seres tienen ese potencial.
because all beings actually have this potential.
Uno maestro Milarepa dijo él, ¿no?
And so there was a master of Milarepa,
Y
a
él dijo,
maestro de Milarepa.
Milarepa dijo,
Milarepa
mira,
dijo.
maestro
So
Milarepa dijo.
Milarepa said,
Y él dijo, yo nunca he visto seres
I
ordinarios.
have never seen an ordinary being.
Todos los seres, y él vio seres iluminados,
His perception, he saw all beings as enlightened beings.
seres divinados.
And they are
divinos,
all
seres
divine.
divinos, ¿no? ¿Por qué él diciendo?
Why?
Y él tiene tres ojos haga
He
físicamente,
doesn't have a third eye right here physically.
no necesariamente.
That's not
Y
necessary.
él ver más allá de formas.
He could actually see beyond form.
No solo ver solo formas.
We're only seeing people's form.
Temporalizo.
We see their temporary
Una
conditions.
persona físicamente poco feo,
We're like, oh, they're physically kind of
ese
ugly.
feo. Ya.
Okay, they're not a good
Una
person.
persona físicamente lindo,
And then
no
this
es
person's
lindo.
beautiful. What a beautiful
No
person.
definir eso, no
And we
definir
can't
eso.
actually define that.
Naturaliza su mente.
We need to look at the
Buena,
nature
mala
of their
persona.
mind. That's what actually determines whether someone is a good person or acting in a good way or not.
Porque el Dalai Lama, por ejemplo,
So, for example, the Dalai Lama,
físicamente no usa nada, ninguna joya,
he
nada.
doesn't use any jewels or anything to make himself look beautiful.
Natural, ¿no? Pero todo el mundo ama. Oh,
But
está lindo, está
everybody
lindo, ¿no?
loves him. They're like, wow, how beautiful.
Él no tiene tatuado nada.
He doesn't have tattoos or anything.
Todo el mundo ama. ¿Por qué ama?
Why do they love him?
Tiene bellezas.
Because his heart is so beautiful.
Brillando, ¿no?
He's just shining.
Solo acerca,
He's just to become
sobrescende.
close to him is enough.
¿Entendeu? Ese cambia dentro,
So
¿verdad?
that's an inner change.
Esa es mi propia experiencia,
And
Lama,
so
¿no?
that's the experience that I
Yo tuve oportunidad de ver a ese grandes maestros,
So
¿no?
I've had the opportunity to meet these masters.
Realmente, Dalai Lama varias veces.
So
con
many
esa
times
presencia.
meeting His Holiness.
Y su eminence Garchen Rinpoche,
And His Eminence
Drikung
Garchen Rinpoche and Drikung Kagyu.
Kagyu. Realmente yo tocando ellos, no nace a hablar mi mente vacío.
When
¿no?
you touch
Decimos.
them, your mind goes totally blank. There's nothing
Solo
to say.
liberación.
Just breathe there.
No
There's
tengo
nothing to
preguntas.
say. There's no questions.
Ese como unión de la su mente naturalista,
That's
¿no?
when your minds unite with the master. Your nature just unites as one.
De ese mente, como llama, desnudo.
It means you touch the naked mind.
No hay elaboración.
With no
No hay elaboración en ese
elaboration.
momento, ¿no?
In that moment, your thoughts just disappear. Your mind becomes one.
Después regresa de nuevo
And
elaboración, ¿no?
then your elaboration returns again.
Por lo menos un segundo.
But for at least for a second, there's no
Una
thought.
experiencia,
And it's
¿no?
an experience of the pure mind.
Ese somos Budas,
And
completo Budas.
that
Momento, ¿no?
itself is when you touch the Buddha nature. That itself is Buddha.
Siente uno como llama, libertad, ¿no?
It's a sense of freedom.
Siente uno vacación.
It
Oh,
seems
no
like
tengo que hacer nada.
Complete
Como
vacation and there's nothing else to do.
sensación viene realmente,
It's
¿no?
really a feeling.
Y eso seguro tiene una experiencia. Yo sentí eso,
I'm
¿no?
sure that you'll experience
Por
it.
eso miraba siempre, oh, yo ya terminé mi trabajo. Dice.
That's why Milarepa was so wild in the mountains. I finished my work here.
Ya terminé, ¿no? Ok. Gracias escuchar eso. Eso me dio por comentario. Y general budismo. Acá yo tengo un poquito de hablar de budismo. Budismo ayer se puede, hermano, yo creo.
That's a chair. A ver, hay alguien.
Sí,
Hay alguien. Oh, there's one.
I here? Okay, thank you. Entonces, esa parte entendió. Ahora yo voy a hablar un poquito de budista.
So
¿Ya?
I want to talk a little bit about Buddhism in general.
Y después usted puede preguntar también.
And
¿ya?
then we'll have some questions too.
Entonces, general budismo viene de Buda, ¿no? Como
So,
Siddhartha. Yo
in
no voy a
general-
contar ese tiempo, ¿ya?
In general, Buddhism comes from Buddha, which was Siddhartha. I'm not going to go into the whole story right now
Por la tiempo, ¿ya?
for time.
Ustedes ya mayores ya saben
I'm
historia.
pretty sure you know the story.
Ya. Entonces, ahí, ese hablan de 2500, más de 2500 años atrás, ¿verdad?
More than 2,500 years ago.
¿Cierto? Entonces, desde ahí viene todo el camino de Budas, budísimos.
So from that, all of the different Buddhist paths came from that.
Pero, ¿qué significa el Buda? ¿Qué significa?
What does that even mean, though, Buddha?
Buda viene de budismo, ¿no?
So, like, Buddhism comes from Buddha.
No, ya. O como es sinónimo. Budismo, Buda, budismo. ¿no?
Buddhism and Buddha. It's
Yeah.
like synonymous.
¿Cierto? ¿Cómo no? Entonces, ¿qué quiere decir eso? Budismo.
What are we saying by Buddhism?
La definición es, Buda significa desperto floreciendo.
So the actual technical term, Buddha, means awakened and flourishing.
Ese es el camino, nomás, ¿no? Ya.
That's what it's about.
¿Desperta de qué?
What is awakened?
Sueño de la confusión.
Awakened from the
Confusión.
from the dream of
Apego,
confusion, from
todo,
the
¿no?
dream of attachment, from the dream of confusion.
Todo es de libertad y eso, ¿no? Como
So-
sang, dice sang.
So it means
tibetano, ¿no?
sang, like sangye in Tibetan is Buddha. So sang means to awaken.
Porque como si fuera dormido en la cama.
So it's like we're
Sueño
sleep,
pesado,
we're
¿cierto?
asleep in our beds,
Soñando mucho, demasiado.
and we're
buena, mala,
dreaming so
etcétera.
much, good or
A
bad,
la mañana despierta,
and you wake up
no pasa nada.
and nothing's happening.
Se llama sang.
That's called sang, to wake up.
Después es ge.
So then there's ge.
Ge significa floreciendo.
Ge means flourishing.
No hay sang,
If there's no sang,
no purificación,
there's no
no
purification,
ge.
then there's no ge.
No hay nubia, no hay sol.
When there's the clouds, the sun isn't shining.
Si hay nubia, nublado, sol no permite.
Even though the sun is there, if the clouds are topping it, it doesn't allow the sun rays to permeate.
Sang se sacar.
So sang means to remove.
Ge.
Ge means to shine.
¿Entendeu? Esa definición, ya
So
buena
that's
entender,
the
ya.
definition of Buddha.
Se llama Budas, ¿no?
So that's what
Yo porque a calar gente,
And the,
muchos piensan uno Dios afuera, algo Buda
the
imagen,
reason
¿no?
I'm clarifying that is because some people think that Buddha is considered an external God.
Eso no necesariamente, ¿ya?
And
No,
that's
¿ya?
not actually the case.
Por supuesto, yo pongo siempre haga una estatua, como fotos, ¿no?
Of course, I put the statue and I put some photos sometimes.
Para recordar.
But it's to remember.
Entonces llama Buda, ese camino ven, ¿no?
So Buddha, so the path came from Buddha.
Camino de la despertar y como la
The
floreciendo, ¿no?
path of awakening and flourishing.
Ese camino no se
So
estamos, ¿no?
that's the path we're
Básicamente.
on.
Entonces, él experimentó y él mostró eso, ¿no?
So he experienced that path and then he showed how he did it.
Él encontró,
He found the way.
él descubrió
He discovered a way.
como realidad, ¿no?
He discovered how reality is actually functioning.
Porque nuestra meta es entender, naturaliza de la realidad.
So that's actually the goal. Understand the nature of reality itself.
Ese punto, ¿no?
That's the
Eso.
point.
Ese de ahí tiene que llegar, todo el
So
mundo
we
quiere.
need to understand how reality is functioning. How does it work?
Cuando nosotros queremos y llegamos, cuando llegamos allá, cuando llegamos a esa realidad, ¿qué pasa?
When we reach that reality, what happens?
Libertad.
There's freedom.
Libertad es felicidad, verdadera
There's
comienza.
true happiness.
No hay más sufrimiento.
There's no more suffering in your
¿Por
mind.
qué no hay sufrimiento?
Why no suffering?
No apego,
Because there's no
no
attachment.
confusión.
There's no confusion.
rabia.
There's no anger.
Ese queremos libertad.
That's what
¿no?
we're trying to become free of.
No estamos buscando libertad física y
We're
externa.
not
¿no?
trying to be physically free somewhere.
Externos.
Externally.
Interno
We're
es
looking
importante.
for inner freedom.
Él llama el Buda.
That's
¿verdad?
Buddha.
Y entonces, por eso él siempre dice, yo no soy creador,
And that's why that you can,
Y él dice, ¿no?
he
Él
said,
mismo.
I'm not a creator.
yo soy como la guide, como llamamos.
I'm like a guide
La-
that helps to show the
la
path.
que muestra el camino, que muestra el camino. Entonces, ¿no? Y él una vez dice, ¿no? Ok, este es mucha frase, ¿ya? Él dice, daga que la tarbillam, tarbarangla la bashevarja. Dice, yo mostré camino de libertad, pero no sigue, depende de ustedes, su mano, dice.
Like
Una
the
quotación.
Buddha, one of the Buddha's quotes is, I can show you the path up to inner liberation. Whether you follow the path or not is up to you.
Una responsabilidad, ¿no?
It's our
Nosotros,
own
¿verdad?
responsibility.
Si tú quieres como él, ¿no?
If you'd
Quiero
like
eso.
to be ultimately happy and free,
Ahí tiene un camino. se
then
llama.
there's a path.
Ahí entra acá.
So we enter that path.
Entonces él no puede forzar, ¿no?
And so, like, and this is something you can't force on anybody.
¿Entendió? Final, somos maestros.
In the end, we are our own master. We're all masters.
El Buda dice, tú eres tu propio maestro, mejor
The
maestro
Buddha said,
existe.
you are your best master that exists.
También propio enemigo existe,
And you are
peor
your
enemigo.
worst enemy that exists.
Cuando autosabotaje.
When you self-sabotage.
Somos enemigos, peor
Because
enemigo, ¿no?
we become our worst enemy.
Ya externo enemigo tal vez puede molestar alguna cosita, ¿no? Chiquititos, ¿no?
So, like, people could bother us externally all the time.
Puede evitar eso.
And
ya.
we could even, like, try to avoid them or something.
Pero enemigo entero,
But that inner enemy will always be there.
no importa dónde arranca,
No matter
seguir con
How far into the forest you go, it will
templo
still
sagrado
be there.
incluso,
You could be in a sacred temple,
oh, todavía ahí.
and you still have that little
molestando.
voice and the little
Como
problems and all
son
the
bicho
things.
chiquitito.
It's like an annoying little bug.
Como fuera, ¿no? Ese es verdad de enemigo considerado,
So
¿no?
that's really the enemy that we're
Si
talking
nosotros
about.
seguimos ese de como la mosca, como
So if we
eso, ¿no?
keep following that tiny little mosquito,
El sufrimiento
there's
infinito.
gonna be infinite suffering.
No hay manera.
There is no end to it.
Pero puede parar poquito, una crimita.
Well,
¿no?
certain
Que tapa.
methods where you could make it feel better for a little bit. It's like a soothing cream,
Pero regresa de nuevo.
but it's gonna keep coming back.
¿Entendió? Estamos cortar raíz.
We need to
raíz.
cut the root of that issue.
¿Cuál es el raíz?
So what's the root?
Raíz del árbol.
The root of the tree.
Quiero
Where's
cortar ese árbol.
we
Quiero
want to
cortar
cut
ese
this
árbol.
tree. I want to cut it.
Cortando las
So don't
ramas.
keep cutting the branches.
Crece de nuevo.
We're cutting the
Ya
branches of our
corté.
problems.
Este año corté, no tengo más ya.
Oh, I cut the branches and this year it's fine.
Próximo año,
Next year it came back.
peor.
Even worse.
Entonces, ¿cuál mejor?
So what's the best?
Raíz.
Cut the root.
Sacar raíz.
Get the root out.
No, menos trabajos.
It's a lot less work.
Porque está cortando cada ramas.
Because we're using all
Mucho
these,
tomar tiempo, ¿no?
we're using all these techniques and methods and we're really just cutting the branches of our problems.
Cortar la raíz.
Let's cut the root.
Un maestro dijo, Milareaba, no cortar la raíz de la fenómeno, cortar la raíz de la mente, dice, ¿no? Con ese significado.
Milarepa.
Milareaba.
Milarepa said, don't cut the root of phenomenon or like the external world. Cut the root of the mind.
Está refiriendo, ¿no?
That's what we're referring to. ¿Y qué es el raíz?
¿Cómo?
¿Qué es el raíz?
¿Cómo?
¿El raíz qué es?
Raíz es confusión,
Es-
ignorancia.
The root is our own confusion and ignorance or unknowingness.
¿Entendió? Entonces ahora sí que la más hablando, recuerda, y Buda, recuerda significa, ¿no?
And so I let you know what Buddha is.
Y él salió, ¿cierto? Él salió
So,
de eso,
He's
¿cierto?
already experienced it. He woke up his consciousness.
Trascendió
He
de
transcended
sufrimiento,
all
¿no?
suffering.
¿No? Desde ñangde,
It's called Nyangde.
Maha
Went into
Nirvana.
nirvana, Mahaparinirvana. No more suffering. His mind will never have suffering again.
Es hablando interno, ¿ya?
So my internal experience.
Buda fue Mahaparinirvana, ¿dónde fue?
So we say
Alguna paraíso, ¿no?
Buddha went to Mahaparinirvana. Where did he go?
No fue nada.
He didn't go anywhere.
Físicamente es con nosotros.
Physically, just like us, he was still in this body.
Y Dalai Lama con nosotros.
Dalai Lama is in this physical body just like us.
Otros maestros iluminados.
Other
no con
enlightened masters,
nosotros, ¿no?
same type of body.
Vive con la discípula,
They
comunidad, ¿no?
live in community with their
Su
disciples,
mente vive otro nivel de
but their
conciencia.
mind lives in a completely different realm.
Es llama Buda, ¿verdad?
That's called Buddha.
Viene dentro.
It comes from the inside.
Físicamente no cambia nada.
Physically, there's nothing to change.
¿Entendió? Físicamente el Dalai Lama, por ejemplo, tiene dolor. Oh, tengo que operar mi pie, ¿no?
Physically, the
Okay.
Dalai Lama has pain and had to get his knees operated
Por suerte, ese como impermanencia física, ¿no?
because he has an impermanent body.
Y él no sufre.
But he's not suffering.
Dolor inevitable, sufrimiento opcional.
Pain is inevitable and suffering is an option.
¿Entendió? Él llama el Buda, significa. ¿ya?
So that's what we're talking about, Buddha.
Ok. Entonces, desde Buda y el claro, ven enseñanza, ¿cierto?
And so from Buddha came teachings.
Desde linaje, ¿cierto? Algo linaje,
It came
¿cierto?
from the lineage.
Desde Buda veniendo, entendiendo.
And so from Buddha, from the Buddha, then this lineage arose because the teachings are training from teacher to disciple, teacher to
Como
disciple.
fuera uno agua naciente trayendo una manguera.
It's like bringing a hose from a spring, directly from the head of the spring, and bringing that down,
Trayendo agua limpios.
bringing this clean water
En
down
la casa, como se
all the
llama.
way to the house.
¿Entendió? Se llama linaje.
So this is called lineage.
Linaje es uno maestro, después de seguidores, práctica,
So
oral transmisión.
this is what a lineage is. So if through an oral transmission, the masters taught their disciples.
Y también algunas escrituras, ¿no?
And
Libros,
some come from scriptures and from books.
totalmente. Y ven eso, se llama linaje.
All of those teachings are getting passed down in a lineage.
Y especialmente nuestro linaje llama la Kagyupas, ¿no?
And I mentioned yesterday that our lineage is called Kagyuba.
Linaje de yogis.
It's a lineage of yogis,
Como Tilupa, ayer hablé.
like
Tilupa,
Tilopa,
Naropa,
Naropa,
Marpa,
Marpa,
Milarepa.
Milarepa.
Todos son de yogis.
All of these guys are yogis.
No son monjes,
They're
como
not-
personas
They're
normales,
not
como
monks.
laicos.
They're not like in the monastery. They're normal people and they were yogis.
Iluminados,
They're enlightened people.
más poderosos.
Very powerful.
¿Entendió? Eso no cambia nada externamente,
So
¿no?
there's nothing to change externally.
Muchas veces, oh, yo tengo que hacer camino de Buda, tal vez tengo que cambiar, digan mi señora, o tal vez mi...
Some people think, oh,
cosas,
if I enter into
proyectos.
the Buddhist path, do I have to let go of my wife or my partner?
Pero no
That's
necesariamente.
not necessary.
Pero puede tener otro camino también, ¿ya?
Ah.
Como opción. Alguien si quiere, puede, ¿cierto?
Puede dejar su camino.
No, alguien quiere algo dedicado como la... Por supuesto, no puede ser. Si alguien quiere un monje completo,
Okay.
tiene existe un camino,
Okay, he
quiere
said
decir, ¿no?
it's not necessary to leave your partners, but then some people choose to go to a monastic path, and they choose that, and that is a different path.
Tiene otro camino,
It's
¿cierto?
it's
Pero
like different. It's same path, but it's like different, like rules on that.
un camino, ¿no? Pero no obliga, yo quiero
But
decir.
you don't
No
have to
obliga.
become a monk in order to practice.
¿Entendió? Ok, entonces ahora entiendo el linaje.
And so now you all understand lineage.
Entonces el linaje de nosotros ahora estamos dando, llama Kagyupa.
So
Kagyu.
we're talking about
Kagyu.
Kagyu lineage. Kagyu.
Ka significa como oral. ¿cierto?
Ka means oral.
Gyu significa oral como iluminado, ¿cierto? Palabra, ¿no?
So ka is like the enlightened speech, the oral enlightened speech.
Y Gyu significa como continuidad,
Gyu
linaje,
means the continuity.
como la cable que
It's
atraen.
just like a cable.
Ese lineage definition.
So
¿ya?
that's the definition of the lineage.
Y nosotros ahora, y fundador de especial dentro de nosotros, como la mayoría siguiente, ya llama Drikung Kagyu, se llama.
And
Drikung
so
Kagyu.
particularly the branch that lamas is called Drikung Kagyu.
Dentro de Kagyu, ¿ya?
So
Esto mismo,
Kagyu
¿no?
is a main branch, and then a sub branch is called Drikung Kagyu.
Y llama fundador, llama Rana Shiri.
And the founder of the lineage is called Ratnashri.
Rana Shiri, uno Buda.
He's a Buddha.
Iluminado.
He is an enlightened being.
Desde ahí viene hasta mi maestros como
So
linaje.
then the lineage has been passed from lineage holder to lineage holder to lineage holder.
Tiene holder como la tronos, como la sostenedor del trono. se
There's
llama.
like the sustainer of the throne.
Ahora nosotros tenemos presencia dos
Actually
sucedidas.
living on the planet right now, we have two sustainers of the throne of our lineage.
Cada linaje tiene, pero especial nuestro linaje tenemos un momento dos.
Every lineage has at least one, and ours actually has two.
Sol y luna representan.
They're born like they're always born around the same time. I have the moon. One is the moon, and one is the sun.
Que representan, ¿no? Como no. Y como hermano mayor, hermano.
One's considered the older brother, and one's the younger brother.
Interesante, su primero reencarnación, hermanos.
Their
Dos
first
hermanos.
incarnation, they were actually like brothers in the same family.
Y después viene diferentes familias,
And,
mismo
and now the same consciousness goes, but they're being reborn in new families each time.
Como 1-8, 1-7. Ahora, ¿no? Número. Octavo, uno reencarnación, octavo, uno
Okay,
7.
one is in his 8th reincarnation, and one is in his 7th.
Ya ven, dos hermanos vienen
And so
juntos
these two brothers, they keep manifesting on the earth
para desarrollar.
to keep developing the
Desarrollar
lineage,
lineage,
to
¿no?
keep developing the lineage.
Después se pasa y el pasando, tirando todas las personas, ¿cierto? Enseñanzas, ¿no?
And then they're just gifting all the teachings to everybody,
No solo monje, ya.
not just monks,
Cualquier
to all
persona,
the
ya.
lay practitioners, to everyone. They just keep
Futuro-
gifting these
Pudo usted expandir para
so that we can all expand the lineage and the practices and
y
teachings
beneficio a los seres.
and benefit beings.
¿Entendió? Entonces, desde ahí, el Buda, claro, enseñado más resumido, el Buda, tiene ruedas de enseñanza, ¿cierto?
And so the Buddha actually then went through the 3 turnings of the Dharma. Y pronto quizás una pequeña break.
Ok. ¿Ahora qué?
I think so.
Ok. Ahora, Andy de Lama habla poquito.
Before Lama goes
descanso,
into a
¿cierto?
next round, we're
Yeah.
going to do a small break.
Puede ser.
We'll
Yeah.
check it out, get some water.
Ya.
¿Cuándo están dividir los otros partes de como 8 vidas? ¿Es casi como 400 años? ¿O ¿Cuál es más o menos el año para la línea? Empezaron de la Kagyu y la Kagyu.
Drikung Kagyu. Drikung Kagyu. When did Drikung Kagyu start? Out of that whole. Okay. Drikung Kagyu is 800 años atrás.
Yeah.
So the question is, specifically, when did the Drikung Kagyu lineage start? And then out of Drikung Kagyu, when did the Kagyu lineage start?
Ya Kagyu más o menos, casi yo quiero 2000. Cerca de 2000.
I think Kagyu started maybe 2,000 years ago.
Más o menos, ya. De varios maestros,
There's
¿cierto?
many masters.
Porque Andy no tiene el nombre de Kagyu, Nyingma no tiene nombre,
Before
¿cierto?
they didn't have all these names that divided the lineages.
¿No? Después, como cada maestro ya tuvieron un especial su enseñanza, ¿no? Experiencia, ¿no?
And then as more masters developed, when they experienced the teachings and developed,
Ella llama Marpa, se llama Marpa.
and then there was Marpa.
Marpa ahí como llama como la emphasize más, ¿no?
So Marpa more
Kagyu-
emphasized
poquito más.
from Marpa, then the Kagyu began being more emphasized.
Y
And then Drikung Kagyu was 800 años atrás.
yo voy a mirar un poquito, un minuto ya, después. Yo,
Okay, he's gonna,
¿sabes el número yo olvido?
he wants to give a more exact number.
Como llama cuando Naropa, ¿cierto? Porque
Look at that.
Tilubedi 900
Tilopa was born in
908.
988.
Eso, ¿no? Eso más o menos
Sí, sí.
Kagyu, ¿va? Pero antes de eso existe, ¿cierto? Linaje.
So it
Todavía.
says the Kagyu started from Tilopa in the year 988.
Ya, todavía más allá
But
tiene más
even
maestros, ¿ya?
before that, there was other masters.
Yeah,
But it
no.
said that the lineage kind of started then.
¿Ya? De Kagyu, después Tiluba poquito desarrollado,
And
¿cierto?
so then
Kagyu,
Tilopa started
Después Marpa,
And then there's
Losawa.
Marpa
Mil.
Lotsawa in,
Mil.
how do I even say that in English? 1012. In
Oh.
year 1012.
Ese Marpa. E Marpa, poquito por ser Marpa Kagyu, poquito
And so
fuerte,
it was
¿no?
called Marpa Kagyu. Then it started to get a little bit more like distinguished then.
Después foi más fuerte foi la Gambukwa.
And then in
Mil.
1079 is Gampopai. It really strongly became
Kagbu
Kagyu.
Kagyu. Aí
It was called Dakpo Kagyu.
Más como emphasize.
It was very emphasized. Year 1079, it got very emphasized. And the first one he said was 988, like no extra number, like 3 numbers.
¿Entendió? Eso conviene suavecito, suavecito, como direccionado, ¿no? Cada discípulo poniendo, renombrando más fuerte,
And
mínimo,
so
¿entiende,
every
no?
time a new student, a new disciple became enlightened, and then they were like more strongly, it became a stronger and stronger, like distinguished lineage.
Entonces, en mayo era llamado Mahamudra, se llama.
Before it was just called
Linaje Mahamudra.
the lineage of Mahamudra.
No tiene lo que yo
It
específico,
wasn't
¿no?
specifically Kagyu.
Porque Mahamudra que trabaja, práctica de la como la natural solamente.
Because Mahamudra signifies these people were practicing waking up the nature of mind.
Directamente practicado.
They just go directly to nature of mind.
Solo miren
They go out into the trees and the forest and they just practice nature of
como
mind.
Vipassana,
Like Vipassana,
Shamatha.
Shamatha.
Eso hace mucho
So
tiempo, ¿no?
they're doing these practices.
Entonces, Mahamudra Linaje.
It was called the Mahamudra lineage.
Y después ahí puse más, hoy día más llamado Kagyu.
And so now it's now the whole branch is called Kagyu.
Después, uno último, Drikung Kagyu, el amador de now está siguiendo.
So Drikung Kagyu was in
1143.
1143 is
Ahí-
when specifically Drikung Kagyu started.
Drikung Kagyu, ¿ya? Kagyu agregó Drikung.
So to Kagyu, Drikung was added.
También. ¿Entendió, hermano? Eso poco varios ramas, más o menos viene eso, ¿ya?
All right, we'll take a 10-minute break.
Puede ser.
So people can have water and bathroom, and then
Poquito.
we'll just put Zoom, we'll just unmute
Yeah.
for a little bit and take off
Ready?
the camera.
Y sigue
So
reflexionando,
all
¿ya?
of our friends on Zoom can also take a break, and we'll see you in 10 minutes.
Ya, reflexionando, sigue pensando.
And please continue to reflect and think.
Ya, ok. Muchas gracias. Ok. Harta información. Ahora, ¿cuándo tiene? Oh, ya.
Hasta
30 minutos.
10:45.
Ya, Inhalamos y exhalamos un poquito
So inhaling and exhaling,
y nosotros cuerpo mente unido
bringing our body and mind into one,
con la intención.
bringing our intention.
Como repitamos un poco mantra y purificación, ¿no?
And we're going to repeat that mantra of purification.
Ay, vaya
Sado,
ay, vaya sado, ay, vaya sado, ay, vaya sado, ay, vaya sado, ay, vaya sado, ay, vaya sado,
Om Vajra Sado.
Om Vajra Sado, 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 Om Vajra Sado. Om Vajra Sado, 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 Om Vajra Sado. Om Vajra Sado, 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 Om Vajra Sado. Oh, ok. Ese mantra, la básicamente significa, Om significa cuerpo, palabra, mente, ¿cierto?
And so Om means body, speech, and mind.
Iluminado.
The enlightened body, speech, and mind. Om.
Vajra se recuerda diamante.
So Vajra, as I mentioned, is like the diamond
Diamante como que representa, nos naturaliza.
that represents our nature.
Como inquebrantable, indestructible.
Our nature is indestructible and unbreakable.
Como Vajra.
It's like a Vajra.
Satu significa poder de ese mente iluminado, como Vajra.
And so Satu is like the power of that indestructible nature,
iluminado.
the enlightened mind, the power of it.
Como invocación, ¿no?
So we're invoking that
Conectar con
powerful
eso, ¿no?
nature of mind.
¿No? Om Vajra Satu.
And so it's Om Vajra Satu Hum.
Limpiando todas nuestras aflicciones y
Lim-
elaboraciones.
Cleansing all of our afflictions and all of our elaborations.
Es muy beneficioso,
So this is very
pero
beneficial.
más largo es 100 sílabas.
But the longer mantra is actually 100 syllables.
Y ese poco de pasito.
We'll learn
pasito.
that one little by
Ajá.
little. Uh-huh. See?
Om Vajra Satu.
You got that?
Mm.
Okay. Mhm. Yeah.
Ok, perfecto.
Do you want to do that, Pam? Om
Vajra
Vajra
Satu
Satu
Hum.
Hum.
Ok. Ya. Entonces, siempre mantra nosotros rezando y es súper buenos.
And so doing these mantras is very good.
Normalmente todo viene de Vajrayana, ¿cierto? Camino Vajrayana.
These mantras
Mantra,
come
¿no?
usually from like the Vajrayana method.
Man, ¿qué significa?
Man.
La mente. Mantra, ¿cierto?
Okay,
No
oh,
frase, ¿no?
Man, mantra, what does man mean? It means the mind.
Tara, ¿qué significa?
And what does tara mean?
Liberación.
It means liberation.
Como Tara, como si fuera ser
Like
divino.
just
Tara,
like
¿no?
Tara, the
Liberadora, como
she's
mujer,
the
¿no?
liberator.
Mantra se liberación.
So mantra is like the liberation of the mind.
Cuando tú nos cantamos, libera la mente.
So whenever we sing that, we're liberating the mind.
¿Por qué mente tiene que liberar?
Why are we liberating the mind?
Porque nuestra mente atrapado, recuerda, las ciertas como aflicciones, negatividades, ¿no?
And
Atrapado,
so
¿no?
there's like, what are we liberating from? Because our mind is trapped under certain afflictions, thoughts, and emotions.
¿Cierto? Entonces, eso nace liberar.
And so this we need to liberate.
Como de ese control, liberando de la nest, como, no sé, como las trampas. Trampas.
It's like releasing a condor or something from a trap, from like a cage. It's like liberating the mind.
Volviendo la espacio más allá. ¿no?
Allowing the mind to be free in its space.
Ver la visión panorámica.
It's to see a panoramic view.
¿Entendió? Ya, ok. Ya.
Pues,
Eso igual va, disculpe, ya, yo, interrupción. Eso igual yo va a ver después, ya más detallada.
And so I
Ya,
will
solo
teach you about these mantras more in detail later.
todo viene después como iniciación,
We're
visualization.
going to have, on the
Parte
path,
de
we're
que
going to
sea.
have initiations, empowerments, and things. And I'll be teaching you about the different Buddhas and the different mantras.
Ya, ya, ahí estamos. ¿Y Sandra quiere hacer algo? No, ok.
¿Tú quieres hablar un poco de qué es qué vamos a hacer en estos como
Ah,
mamá?
quinto problema, vamos a ver, está acá llegando.
Ujú.
Ok, entonces vamos, estamos hablando más o menos, ustedes ya entendió como subir de lineaje y el Buda, ¿cierto? Más o menos como resumido entendió,
So
¿cierto?
I've kind of given you
Idea,
this background of like, what is Buddhism? What is the Buddha nature? What is the lineage?
¿no? Eso ustedes ya entendieron,
So
¿cierto?
do you feel that you understand that?
¿Sí? No importa, completamente entiendo, ¿no?
It doesn't matter if you
¿no?
like
Todo
fully
detallado.
understood it in total
Pero
detail.
algo idea,
But if
ok,
you have the essence of what was said,
¿no? Eso es importante.
then
¿no?
that's what's important.
Entonces ahora yo estaré hablando de enseñanza.
So now I want
Cierto.
to teach you about the teachings.
Después el Buda iluminó, ¿qué pasa?
So-
¿No? Ya está en la bosque solo descansando.
So
¿o no?
after the Buddha became enlightened, was he just chilling in the forest, like being
Oh.
enlightened?
Yo soy libertad ahora
I'm
ya.
just gonna relax.
No hizo eso,
That's
¿no?
not what he did.
Una conversión.
It's out of compassion.
Yo tengo ahora ese deseo como néctar,
I found this nectar.
como cara a la luz.
I found the clear light,
Eso quiere compartir.
and I want to share this with others.
Yo tengo una fruta, guanábana.
I have the fruit of a guanabana tree.
100 años. ¿no?
It's so many years of work.
Ahora quiero compartir.
And I want to share the guanabana.
No solo yo voy a comer todo, ¿no?
I'm not going to eat them all myself.
Budichita, ¿no?
So that's called bodhicitta.
Como frutos iluminados, ¿no? Y eso es mente iluminada.
So that's the enlightened mind.
Esa mente
This
budichita.
is called the mind of bodhicitta.
Mente pura, mente
It's like
desnudo,
the pure, naked mind.
lleno de cualidades.
It's full of qualities.
Después él iluminó y él hizo 3 kilómetros de dharmas.
And so then after he became enlightened, he did 3 turnings of the teachings.
Kilómetros de dharmas, sino queriendo la enseñanza.
So when it
¿no?
says it turned the wheel of the Dharma 3 times, it means he taught 3 rounds of teachings
Continuidad,
in continuity,
no como rueda de samsara, ¿ya?
not like the wheel of samsara.
Rueda de dharmas.
It's the wheel of Dharma.
Continuidad, sabiduría.
He continuously taught that wisdom.
3 veces, ¿ya? Entonces, 3 veces enseñado, ¿cuál tema él habló? Más resumido.
And so what did he teach?
Él enseñó 84,000 enseñanzas. Ayer hablamos un poquito, ¿no?
84,000 teachings
General.
in
Es como
general.
Muy detalladas.
Very
¿no?
detailed teachings.
¿Para qué eso? ¿Para, qué?
Why? Why did he do that?
Para despertar.
To wake up.
Y también cada uno de nosotros tiene aflicciones, ¿no?
Because we all have afflictions.
84,000 aflicciones.
We have 84,000 different types of ways that we suffer.
Cada seres, ¿no?
All
Tiene
the
eso.
beings.
Cada eso necesita una medicina.
And every one of those
Medicine.
need medicine.
Resumió enseñanza, 84,000 enseñanzas.
And all of those teachings were like summarized.
Enseñó 3 internamentos.
And they were brought into what's called the 3 precious trainings.
Eso nosotros estamos ahora queriendo.
And
cambiar,
that's
¿ya?
what we're going to be doing.
¿Por qué ese resumido tres?
Why is it summarized into those three?
Todo lo veneno resumido tres.
Because all of those mental poisons resume or summarize into three.
Ahora eso es importante entender,
So it's
¿ya?
good to know that.
Tiene medicina,
There's three
tiene
medicines
veneno.
and there's three poisons.
Ese es el fundamento, ¿no?
That's the foundation.
Y por eso tiene quiroides dharmas.
So then there was three turnings of the Dharma,
Tres pasos, ¿no?
3 steps.
Primero él habló sobre el internamiento de Shila,
So first he spoke about the training of Shila, or
moral disciplina,
which is called moral discipline,
que interna conductas.
that trains us in virtuous conduct.
¿Cuál medicina por eso?
What is the medicine?
Tiene-
It's the medicine for what?
Tiene veneno, ¿cierto?
we have the-
¿Cuáles son?
The 3 poisons:
Apego,
attachment.
principalmente apego.
There's attachment, anger, and ignorance, which is what we did in the mastery mantra class, right? So he's saying the first wheel has to do with attachment.
¿Entendió? ¿Cuál veneno? Apego.
So the moral discipline is the medicine for attachment,
¿Cuál veneno? Oye, ¿ok? Para transformar
to
esto, ¿no?
transform attachment.
Porque nosotros seres más desafío de apego, primero.
Because we have so much challenge with attachment and desire.
Ayer pregunto ya, Cassandra, ¿cierto? ¿Dónde viene el origen del apego?
They asked yesterday, where's the origin of attachment?
Y la ignorancia,
It comes from ignorance.
confusión.
It comes from confusion.
No conoce,
It doesn't, we don't know.
no comprende la
We're
realidad.
not understanding reality.
De apegos.
So then there's attachment.
Pensando todo permanente.
We think everything's
que
permanent.
no va a cambiar.
We
¿no?
think not everything's permanent, nothing changes,
Produce la
and it
apegos.
produces attachment.
Hay miedos.
And then we have fear.
Entonces, esa medicina moral
So
disciplina.
the medicine for that is moral discipline.
Primero quiero de Dharma,
So
¿ya?
that's the first wheel turning of the Dharma.
Ahí hablo llamado más conocido. Cuatro nobles verdades hablo.
And so, and he very much spoke about the Four Noble Truths in this wheel.
No voy a detallar de eso.
I'm not going to
solo
go into that
eso, ¿no?
today.
¿Ok? Después, segundo internamiento, ¿cuál fue? Segundo, ya.
And then in the second wheel,
Interno bien, parte conducta disminuido,
so
por lo menos.
now that you've trained in moral discipline, what do you train in next?
Disminuido poquito de apego,
Because
¿cierto?
your attachments are now less,
Todavía tengo bien, segundo bien.
but you still have the second poison.
¿Cuál es ese?
What is that?
Rabia.
Anger.
Mucha rabia. Odios.
Anger, hatred,
Agitación de la mente.
agitation of the mind.
¿Cuál medicina él necesita?
So
ahora?
what medicine do you need?
Necesita samadhi.
You need samadhi, which is like single-pointed concentration.
Mente calma.
You
¿no?
need a
¿Cierto?
calm mind.
Se llama samadhi.
That's called samadhi.
Sila, samadhi,
So
¿verdad?
first there's Shila, then there's samadhi.
Ahora está acercando su meta.
And so now it's getting close to your goal.
Ahora después tenemos todo eso, rey de eso viene de confusión.
And
¿Cierto?
so
Viene de
the
confusión.
attachment and the aversion, the root of that is confusion.
¿Qué necesita ahora medicina?
So what is the medicine for confusion?
Sabidurías.
It's wisdom.
¿Dónde viene sabidurías? Rey de las
And
sabidurías.
so what is the root of wisdom?
Final problema es confusión, ¿cierto?
The final
Ignorancia, ¿no?
issue is confusion.
Entonces yo necesito
So
sabiduría.
then I need wisdom.
No necesito otros.
I don't need anything else than that.
Yo necesito solo frutos, nada
I just
más.
need the fruit.
Pero crece la fruta de procesos.
But to grow that fruit, you had to go through the other
Nasa
process.
tierra, agua,
We need the
aire,
water,
todo
the
incluye.
air,
Mano de persona.
we need
Oh,
the hand, like the labor of it.
sabiduría viene de disciplina.
Wisdom comes from
No,
discipline.
no. Viene de samadhi.
Wisdom comes from deep meditative concentration.
Porque su mente mientras más calma,
Because the calmer that your mind is,
más tranquilidad,
the more tranquil
su
it
mente
is,
más claridad,
the more clarity,
no ver realidad,
and you will
ver la realidad.
see reality.
¿Y dónde viene samadhi?
So where does samadhi come from? Where does concentration come from?
Disciplina,
It comes from discipline.
moralidad,
It comes from our
buenas
morality,
conductas.
our virtuous actions, good conduct.
Ese está construyendo.
So that's what we're building little by little.
Esas razones Buda enseñado. Eso
So
enseña,
that's the reason that the Buddha taught in this way.
¿entendeu? Eso son muy resumido. Tere internamentos, tere venenos.
So that's a very summarized version of the 3 poisons and the 3 turnings of the Dharma.
Entonces ahora, ¿dónde yo voy a comenzar?
So
¿Cómo
where-
practica? Esa
Where do,
pregunta viene,
where
¿cierto?
do I start? What do I practice?
Hay llamado quinto pole Mahamudra.
And so then we have the 5-fold Mahamudra.
Ese de camino.
That's the path.
Ese de como la hizo comida en la casa.
This
Como-
is like taking all the ingredients and made the food ready for you to eat in the house.
¿Entendió? Porque tú compras en mercado muchas comidas.
So
Por
you
ejemplo,
bought lots of things in the
Yeah.
market.
hoy voy a cocinar sopa, hoy necesitamos eso, ¿cierto? Compro mucho material,
So you
¿cierto?
bought many different ingredients.
Todos crudos.
And all of it's raw,
So no
raw
puede-
ingredients. You can't just
Ya,
cook-
claro.
you can't just eat the rice when you get it from the market.
No, delicioso.
It's not delicious.
Hay que cocinar, ¿verdad?
You gotta cook it.
Hay que poner masala rico.
You gotta put in some nice spices in there.
Y comida listos.
And then the food's ready.
Lo mismo,
Same way.
quinto problema mudra,
The fivefold Mahamuja
comida listos.
is a ready food.
Está en las mesas.
It's ready for you on the table.
Pero come no come depende de cada
But
persona.
whether you
¿verdad?
eat or not depends on you.
Pero papá y mamá cocinados.
But Papa, Dad, Mom and Dad made the food though.
Como fuera, ¿ya? Eso sinceramente, ¿ya?
But
Ya,
really,
ya.
I'm being serious about it.
Porque imagina, 84,000 enseñanzas,
So 84,000 teachings.
sutras.
There's sutras.
Maravilloso todo, ¿no?
It's so marvelous.
Como si fuera crudo.
But it's almost
Todavía
like raw ingredients.
necesita uno como las samuráis.
But we need to summarize it. We need to be able to embody it.
Desde muy detallada, ahí
So
viene
from
como resumen.
detailed, bringing it down into its essential points.
Ahora 5 puntos solo.
So these 5 essential points,
Ese es el camino.
that's the path.
¿Entendió? Entonces, especialmente lineage Kagyu, ¿no?
Especially the Drikung Kagyu lineage.
Como llama Lamrim.
It's
Es
called a
Lamrim.
this is called the Lam Rim.
Camino gradual.
It's a gradual path to enlightenment.
Paso y pasos, ¿no?
Each lineage has their gradual path that are similar, but the very specific one we're doing is called Fivefold Mahamuja.
¿Entendió? Eso, entonces, ahí tenés 5 puntos, ¿ya?
So there's 5 main points.
Primero llama Bodhicitta.
First is cultivate bodhicitta.
Bodhicitta, ustedes saben, mente beneficia para otros
It
seres,
is the
¿cierto?
mind of awakening that wants to benefit all beings.
Bodhicitta.
That's bodhicitta.
Pero traducción exactamente dice Buddhist desperto, chitta es mente, mente desperto,
So
mente iluminado.
the exact translation is the awakened mind, but the essence means the mind that wishes to benefit all beings.
Se llama Bodhicitta.
That's called bodhicitta. So
Ahí tiene-
cultivate this mind.
Ese es el primer paso,
That's
¿ya?
the first major step.
Segundo paso, si buena Bodhicitta, mente,
If you have good bodhicitta in
es
your mind,
mente bondad.
in this loving mind,
Segundo paso, yitam.
the second one's called yitam, your
Yitam-
deity.
Yitam se deidades.
The yitam is the yitam deity.
Tu deidad interior.
It's to encounter your divine being inside yourself.
Yit significa
Yit
conciencia.
means consciousness,
Tam significa dos sentidos.
and tam has 2 meanings.
Uno es el compromiso, el mismo, conciencia.
Tam
Compromiso.
is like a commitment to itself.
Otro significados supremos.
The other means supreme.
Conciencia supremos.
So the supreme consciousness that's inside of me.
Conciencia supremo de como deidades.
So it's like the deity is the deity or the yidam deity is the supreme consciousness that each of us have.
En resumen, tu cuerpo, palabra, mente, 100% deidades.
In summary, your body, speech, and mind are the deity.
Incluso tú tomando té, por ejemplo,
When you drink tea,
no tomando Lama Dorje.
I'm not drinking. Lama Dorje is not drinking it.
Ofrece a deidades.
I'm offering it to like the deity, to the Buddha of love and compassion.
¿Cuál beneficio?
What's the benefit?
Va a perder
You're gonna lose
todo el ego ordinario.
all your ordinary ego.
Ahora nosotros, yo, ¿cierto? Oh,
So,
yo quiero.
I want this.
Yo quiero.
I want to do
Ropa
that.
lindo, yo.
I want these clothes for
Eso
me.
va desarrollando el apego.
So you're just developing attachment,
Final va a llevar
and
sufrimiento.
it's going to take you towards suffering.
Y tú no cambia nada. Puedes usar mejor zapato del
Don't
mundo.
change anything and still wear the best shoes in the world,
Pero ofrece a deidades.
but offer that to the deity,
No Lama Dorje.
not to Lama Dorje.
Ofrece, joder.
Offer it to you.
Buena comida, rico.
Oh, good food?
Oh, ofrece a
Offer
deidades.
it to the deity.
Ese no apegos.
That's non-attachment.
No apego, no sufrimientos.
No attachment, no suffering.
Por eso uno maestro Tiruba dijo, no hay problema con la adicción.
So there's
No
no,
dice.
one of the great masters said, there's no problem with desire.
Hay problema con la apego.
The problem is attachment.
Quiero decir, ese caso, adicción significa tener.
To have something is not a problem.
Mejor termo del mundo.
You can
Quiero
have the best
tener.
thermos in the world.
No hay problema.
No problem.
Problema con la apego.
The problem is when you're attached to it.
Cuando tú apega, mío.
This is mine.
alguien critica mi
Someone criticizes my
No,
thermos. I don't like you.
o preocupado de alguien rayar.
I'm so worried that someone's going to scratch my thermos.
Tengo mejor del mundo.
Oh, I have the best thermos in the world.
Ego.
My ego.
Alguien tiene otro termo mejor.
Someone has a better thermos than me.
Envidia.
I'm jealous of you.
Perdió.
And we're
Felicidad.
losing all the happiness we lost.
No, felicidad.
There's no happiness there.
¿Entendeu? Eso es importante, realmente, ¿no? Realmente importante. Ya.
So deity.
¿Entendeu? Ahora deidades, ¿sí, no?
So we did bodhicitta and
What way?
deity.
Segundo camino, ¿cuál es?
So the second path, which was that?
Yidam.
Yidam deity.
Yidam, tibetano palabra, ¿ya?
That's the
Yidam.
yidam is the Tibetan word. Deity is like the translation of it.
¿Ya? Yidam. Después, entendendo buena yidam.
So now we're trained well in the yidam
Oh,
deity.
mi cuerpo yidam.
My body
Palabra
is
de
the yidam.
yidam.
My speech is the yidam.
Mente yidam.
My mind is the yidam.
Ahora ven Mahamudra.
Now we practice Mahamudra.
Ya.
Guru, Guru Yoga. Now we practice Guru Yoga.
Cuatro calles.
The
Cuatro
four
calles.
kaya Guru Yoga.
Guru Yoga, sí. Calles. Calles significa un cuerpo.
Kaya means body.
Cuatro cuerpos de los seres
So
iluminados.
it's the
¿no?
we're practicing to train to cultivate the four bodies of an enlightened being.
Porque ahora nosotros cuerpo gordo, ¿no?
Right now we have this like gross, how do you say, like
Burdo.
you know what I mean by
Obvio,
like the
¿no?
gross level,
Físico.
the obvious level,
Tangible.
a tangible level of a body.
Se llama Nirmanikaya.
It is called a Nirmana Kaya body.
¿Es cierto? Porque eso nos mucho apegamos con
And
eso.
we're so attached to this body.
Puede, digo, no son nace de alguna forma para beneficiar los
But
nace de un cuerpo.
we need a form in order to benefit others.
Por ejemplo, cuando nos va muriendo, por ejemplo,
But when we die,
oh, yo no quiero, diga mi cuerpo, lleva
then
conmigo, ¿no?
you don't want to
No.
leave your body behind. You want to
No
bring it
puedes,
with
¿no?
you, but you can't.
No necesita eso.
And you don't need it.
Tú tienes otro cuerpo.
You actually have another subtle body.
El cuerpo de la llaman arcoíris.
You have a rainbow body as well.
Cuerpo de la conciencia.
It's called the rainbow. It's called the rainbow body of our consciousness.
Tiene un cuerpo, pero no puede tocar.
It's a body that you can't touch.
Más mejor todavía.
It's even better.
No nace alimenta nada.
You don't have to feed it.
¿Entendió? Menos gasto, ¿verdad?
It's a lot less expensive, that body.
Ay, eso ni mo- quiero sambucaya. Quiero sambucaya.
So that's called the Sambhoga Kaya form.
Segundo cuerpo, ¿ya?
That's the rainbow body.
Después llama más sutil
And
todavía.
then even more subtle than that body,
Se llama Dharmakaya.
it's called the Dharmakaya body.
Y eso voy a hablar después detallado.
I'm
ya
going to
solo
teach you
como,
about that
no
one day in
preocupe.
lots of detail, so don't worry.
Dharmakaya es cuerpo del espacio,
It's the body of space.
como cuerpo de la vacuidad.
It's the body of emptiness.
No puede tocar,
You can't touch it.
no puede ver,
You can't perceive it.
pero hay algo.
But
¿no?
there's
Puede ser.
something there.
No puede, oh, hay cielo azul.
It's not, it's like the blue sky.
Cielo azul, por ejemplo, ¿no? Pero no es cielo azul. No
It's
es el
like,
cielo
it's
azul.
like the sky is blue, but you can't actually touch the blue. Like, where's the actual blue?
Tampoco no puede negar.
But you can't negate that it's
Hay
there
algo, no
either.
sé.
Something is there.
Muy difícil de ser respuesta, ¿no?
God, like, what is it?
Yo le digo,
Like,
oh, ahí ese cielo espacio.
you say, look at the sky.
¿Cuál forma tiene?
But what form
¿Cuál
does it
color
have?
tiene?
What color does it have?
¿Puede tocar para mi
Just
casita?
touch the space to my and bring it to my house.
No puede.
You can't do it.
Tampoco tú no, oh, no hay nada.
But you
no
can't
puede
see
nada.
there's nothing.
Porque como no, ahí tiene
Right?
algo.
Because something's there.
¿Entendió? El camino de medio.
So then it's called the middle path.
Es Dharmakaya.
This is called the Dharmakaya.
Después de unión de tres, no recuerdo bien sánscrito poco complicado. ¿Cómo se llama? Unión de tres.
And then there's
Avivakaya.
Savivakaya.
Algo.
Then there's this Svavikakaya body is when all of these threes unite into one.
¿Entendió? Se llama Guru Yoga de tres calles,
So-
cuatro calles.
So that's the third step. We went from bodhicitta to the deity, and then we practiced the four kayas of the guru, of becoming a master.
Nosotros entendiendo Guru externo,
We use an external master in order
Yo-
to train ourselves to be a master,
yo convertir.
so that I convert myself into a
Yo
master.
tengo imagen de Buda frente de mí.
I can use an image of the Buddha in
Yo
front of
quiero
me.
convertir algunos
because
momentos.
I'm converting myself into that.
Ese es un método, ¿verdad?
It's a method.
Nada existe separado. Oh, yo
There's-
dice, haga,
There is
haga.
no separation between that image and you.
Ese mi entiendo donde yo.
It's
¿no?
not like anyone's telling you what to do. It's your own mind.
Eso es propio creación.
Your own mind is projecting and creating its
Resuelve tú mismo.
mastery. And then you're dissolving it into you to actually be that.
¿Entendió? Ese es un método tibetano budista diferente,
So
¿no?
this is a very different method in
Vajrayana.
Tibetan Buddhism in Vajrayana.
Ya, ahora entendió Guru Yoga de cuatro
So that was
kayas. Ya.
the third step, the Guru Yoga.
Después tú entiendes bien las cuatro kayas,
So
¿no?
now when you're training in these 4 kayas,
Ahí se llama Mahamudra.
so through that, now you practice Mahamudra.
Mahamudra incluye shamatha,
Mahamudra includes single-pointed focus,
vipassana
vipassana,
y Mahamudra.
and then
¿sabes?
Mahamudra itself, the nature of mind.
Como unión de ambos.
So then when you can unite single-pointed focus with vipassana, your mind experiences its own nature, which is Mahamudra.
Calma, claridad, inseparable.
Calmness and clarity are inseparable qualities.
Apariencia, vacuidad, inseparable.
Appearances and emptiness are inseparable qualities.
Claridad, claridad, como la vacuidad y la gozos inseparables.
Bliss and emptiness are inseparable.
Uno solo. ¿no?
It's one nature.
Como en la leche y en la agua.
It's like milk inside of water.
¿Cómo separar?
How to separate it?
Agua es leche, leche, agua.
Water is milk and milk is water.
¿no? Inseparable.
It's inseparable.
Unión.
It's a union of qualities.
El lumino.
That's enlightenment.
Después el lumino, ¿cuál se llama?
So then after that, what do you do?
Dedication.
You have to dedicate it.
Dedication significa todos los frutos ya tiene compartir.
All these fruits that you have, share it with others.
Es llamado actividad iluminación sin conceptuales. Actividad iluminada
That
sin
means like the
conceptuales.
activity beyond concepts, non-conceptual activity.
Natural.
It's natural, spontaneous
Incondicional.
benefit for all beings.
Es llamado grande bodhisattva.
And so that you're at a bodhisattva level.
No nace ninguna ganancia.
You don't have to gain anything.
Él ya
He's
salió de
just
eso, ¿no?
giving. He already left
Él
that.
ganó máximo.
He already gained the most.
No necesita
There's
más.
nothing else to gain.
Es llama bodhisattva.
That's called a bodhisattva.
Puro servicio.
Just
puro
pure
servicio.
service.
Ese se llama inconditional actividad.
That's called unconditional activity,
Iluminados.
enlightened activity.
Ahí iluminó, ahí terminó los cursos, ¿no?
And then the course ends.
Ya, ahí puede tomar la coconut water y la playa.
Coconuts at the
Yeah.
beach.
Estoy ya feliz, ¿ok? Ya, ¿entendió? Ya celebrar ahora.
And then there's 6 yogas.
Ya. Después se quiere agregar, tiene más.
And then if you want to add more, there's more.
Uno más método,
And
¿cierto?
there's some more methods.
Otro, alguna técnica, ¿cierto?
It's-
Pero basado, eso es súper
It's
importante.
still based in this, and there's some more techniques.
Y eso todavía no tengo en la diseño.
Haven't added that
Todavía.
to the design yet, but if you want it,
Para-
I will.
Para la miedo, suena mucho, ¿no? Demasiado.
I don't want to
información, ¿no?
make you feel overwhelmed, so I've just left it here first.
Es llamado 6 yoga de
But what
Naropas.
comes after that's called the 6 yogas of Naropa.
Es maravilloso.
It's marvelous.
Eso realmente cultiva tu vida diaria, ¿no?
It cultivates your daily life in this body.
Uno llamado yoga de los tumos.
One is called the tumo.
Ahí trabaja las cada chakras.
It's the fire, the inner heat fire
Fuego interior.
practice. It's to cultivate the inner heat. And it opens up your nadis and opens up your channels.
Cada chakra hace como todo.
All the
práctica
channels, the
para
chakras, the
limpiar.
breath, the wind, it's opening and practicing all of those.
Principalmente apego, transforma gozo.
Transforming attachment into bliss,
Gozo supremo.
the supreme bliss.
Chakra ombligo.
It's here at the center, at the navel.
Después llama yoga de la cara a la luz.
There's the yoga of clear light.
Sembra en la corazón.
It's here cultivated in the heart.
Yoga de la sueño.
This is called the dream yoga.
Diferente poco. Sleep yoga se llama, ¿no?
Sleep. This one's
Cara a
called
luz, ¿no?
sleep yoga.
Dormir
It's-
profundo.
It's a very deep sleep.
Pero
But
reconocer
waking up inside of that and recognizing
10 minutos.
recognizing the naked mind,
Cara a la luz.
the clear light.
Ya, esa es una técnica, ¿ya? Acá. Después como garganta.
Then you work here at this chakra.
Yoga de los sueños.
It's the yoga of dream,
yoga.
the
Ahora
dream
dream
yoga.
Soñando,
You're dreaming
entendiendo la soñando.
and you train in your dream.
Y ese ayuda día, noche, No diferencia.
That means then you can practice day and night and not even know the difference between day and night. You can just, your consciousness maintains its continuity. You don't lose consciousness.
Ese ayuda, esa vida, próxima vida, no diferencia.
This will help you understand that this life and your next life is no different. There's a
No hay miedo.
continuity. There's no fear of death.
Porque igual, sueños.
Because
¿no?
it's all the same. It's all like a dream.
Tú ya estás percibiendo sueños.
You're perceiving that you're dreaming.
Pero no puedes negar sueños.
You can't negate the dream,
Solo internar los
but
sueños.
you can train inside your dream. You can control the dream.
¿Cierto? Después se llaman yoga y ilusorios.
Then you go
Ilusorios,
to
porque
the illusory yoga.
Todos son ilusorios.
You know, you train that everything is illusory and dreamlike.
Hoy está comiendo y esto es ilusorio.
So I'm eating
No real.
illusory food. Everything is not as real as it seems.
Pero disfrutar.
But you can then enjoy
Pero
life
no hay apegos.
because there's no attachment.
Tú mirando el arcoíris,
You see everything like a rainbow.
mirando el reflejo de lunas.
Everything's more like a reflection of the moon in the water.
Oh, qué belleza, lindo.
How
esas
beautiful.
fotos, ¿no? Pero no puedes tocar.
But you can't touch it.
Pero tú sabes,
But you know
no apegos,
there's no attachment
no sufrimientos.
and there's no suffering.
Y disfrutar solo
And you
de
just
solo.
enjoy.
Ya. Llegó ilusorio de mi yoga. Después se llama yoga de la Barto y Hoa se llama.
Then you practice with the yoga of Bardo and Foa, the ejection of consciousness. Bardo is the transitioning period between this body and the next.
Después se murió. Y solo tiene 6 partos normalmente.
There's actually 6 Bardos.
No nace de morir, ¿cierto?
You don't actually have to die to be in a Bardo.
Partos son intermedios.
Bardo
intermedio.
means the intermediate state.
Esto es parto.
So I'm already,
ver,
we're
¿no?
in a Bardo now.
No.
We're in an intermediate state.
Porque saliste de tu casa,
You left your house
no regresaste.
and you didn't return yet.
Esta parto.
You're in the
intermedio.
Bardo.
Siempre hay parto.
We're always in a Bardo.
Cada parto tiene oportunidad de
And
despertar.
every Bardo has an opportunity to wake up.
Desde nacimos hasta morir parto.
From the moment that you're born until you die, there's a Bardo.
Desde dormimos hasta despertar parto.
When you dream, when you fall asleep before you wake up, there's a Bardo.
Siempre parto.
There's always a Bardo.
Hay una técnica que puede iluminar
So there
cualquier
are
momento.
techniques to wake up in any moment in any of those.
Eso uno internamente.
That's the
¿no?
training.
Y otro como la salud de conciencia.
And the other one is called Foa, where you can train to control, you can eject your consciousness into the next form
Chakra coronilla.
through your crown chakra.
Puede aplicar tú mismo.
You can apply it to yourself.
Y puede aplicar a otras
You
personas.
can actually help other beings with the
Hoy puede
same.
ayudar.
You can help them pass.
Alguien muriendo,
Somebody's passing,
tú puedes hacer una FOA.
you can actually help them pass.
Pero por supuesto tiene una práctica,
But you have to have totally mastered it.
¿no? Como realmente tú estás, por lo menos experiencia de baguida
You
poquito, ¿no?
actually had to have experienced emptiness.
¿No? Entonces ahí puede sacar su conciencia las luminadas.
And you can actually help a consciousness to leave and become enlightened as they leave their
Se
body.
llama FOA.
That's
¿no?
called Foa.
Ese como la más futuro, ¿verdad?
That's
Viene poco, ¿no?
Very much in the future, but
Pues-
little by little.
Pero ese fruto, ¿verdad?
But that's one of the fruits.
Pero ahí necesita una preparación.
But there has to be a preparation to get there.
Tierra, todo bien, ahora
That we have to make sure the soil is very good.
condición está
The
bien, agua
conditions
bien,
have to be very good. The water has to be good.
clima está bien,
Climate has to be good.
¿no? Acá el clima es súper bueno,
This
¿verdad?
is a good climate here, really.
Seguramente va a crecer.
So hopefully, I think your trees are going to grow.
Crecer. ¿Cierto? Acá pura vida, ¿verdad?
Everything here is pura vida, so hopefully it all grows.
Ya, bueno, ya. Las condiciones maravillosas,
We're in
realmente,
very
¿no?
good
Yo quiero crecer.
conditions,
Entonces, decisión de nosotros, ¿no?
but it depends on us.
Y eso la madre ya hablando, no está forzando para ustedes.
So I'm telling you that I'm not forcing you to do anything.
Y vale la pena
But
hacer algo,
it
¿no?
really it's very valuable to do something.
No significa ustedes tienen que tomar con la lama dorje, no
It doesn't
significa
mean
eso,
you
¿no?
have to just be Lama Dorjes like a Sangha or something.
Cualquiera lamas
You
de
can also
mundos, o
enjoy
maestro, otro
other
maestro.
lamas, enjoy other lamas' teachings, enjoy other teachings of different lineages.
Tenga ese tipo de información,
You can have information.
realmente maravilloso.
It's so beautiful.
Yo experimenté una gotita, ¿ya?
I experienced
Todo
a
posible.
drop of this.
Pero yo no sé ni me logro, pero
It
yo
doesn't mean that
queriendo más,
that doesn't
queriendo
mean
eso,
that I've
como-
achieved the
¿no?
maximum of these, but it means I had enough to know that I definitely
como
want
si fuera
more.
uno perrito, come poquito.
It's
o
like
después
a dog
quiero,
that ate
quiero.
just a little bit and really wants more.
Mucho como esfuerzo natural, ¿no?
So the effort becomes so spontaneous and joyful to do it.
¿Entiendes? Y se puede hacer no solo por casa,
So
¿no?
this is stuff that we can do in our own house.
No nace de retirarse, oh, vamos 4 años retiro,
We
ya
don't-
diga mi
oh,
familia,
we don't
mi
have to-
proyecto.
We don't have to leave our projects and our families and go on to 4-year retreat.
Solo organizar la
Just
tiempo. ¿no?
organize your time.
Que no son costumbres, dice, oh, Lama, me gustaría, pero no tengo tiempo.
We have
lamentablemente,
this
¿no?
Lama, they tell Lama, they say, oh, Lama, I really would love to do something like this, but I just don't have time, unfortunately.
Eso yo quiero que mentira. Poco,
I think
¿no?
that's a little bit of a lie.
Nunca dice, no tengo, porque dice, nunca dice, nunca tiempo para dormir, no tengo tiempo para sufrir, nunca dice, ¿no?
No one ever says, I don't have time to sleep. I don't have time to suffer. I don't have time to be angry.
No dice eso.
No one says
tengo
that
tiempo.
to me.
Todo cosas negativas ya tengo tiempo.
All the
Cuando quiera, ¿ya?
negatives we got time for.
Solo quiero práctica espiritualidad.
I have to practice.
Oh, no tengo tiempo.
I don't have time.
Muy ocupado con lo negativo. ¿ya?
I'm so occupied.
Eso una costumbre,
So
¿ya?
I think that's just called a habit.
Incluso la mandordi, ¿ya? No
Including
dicen
myself,
ustedes, ¿ya?
not just you.
Tengo esa hábito.
I have
¿cierto?
a habit like this.
Cuando no, yo digo, oh, práctica, duermo. Oh, no, mejor, yo tengo otra cosa.
I don't know. I got other things to do right now.
En
I'm not gonna
realidad,
practice.
organizamos tiempo.
But
realmente tiene
if we
tiempo.
organize our time, we have time.
Mucho tiempo está como mirando la celular, Facebook,
We're
Instagram.
looking at Facebook, Instagram all the time.
Haciendo como lavando, todo va a
Just
terminar
like
lava.
looking like you're trying to wash your screen or something.
Después duele acá, ¿no?
Then your hand even hurts from holding it too long.
Lo mandan, oh, mándame,
You're like, oh, mother.
leyendo el libro, ¿no? Libro, ¿no? Ok, yo hablando de experiencia la madorilla, ¿no? Pero ustedes tengan alguna de esas, ¿no? ¿No?
I'm just speaking from experience, and maybe you have the same. I'm not sure.
Yo tuve conexión desde 2009.
From
Tuve conexión con la
2009, I
tecnología.
started using technology.
Antes no conozco
I
realmente.
didn't
¿no?
have technology before that.
Cuando fui a Chile,
When I
¿no?
went to Chile for the first time,
2009 fue Chile.
I
ya,
went
¿no?
to Chile for the first time in 2009.
No conozco nada de
I had
tecnología.
never known technology.
Muy nomático.
I was current nomadic community. He just came out 4 years of retreat, like fresh out of
Después mi
retreat.
amiga, yo vivo en una casa de una señora.
And I was living at a house of this lady just let me stay there.
Ella compró un computador poco viejo.
And she bought like an old computer.
Lama digo, tienes que aprender acá.
Lama, you have to learn this.
Yo mucho miedo.
And I was so scared
Porque no sabe primero la letra, ¿cierto?
because I don't know. First of all, I don't even know the letters.
Yo tocando la computadora, ting, ting, oh, muy
then
susto,
I
realmente
touched
como
it,
algo
it made,
explotar.
it made a sound. I thought I was trying to make it explode or something.
Porque uno no sabe leer, porque a veces está equivocado.
Because you don't know
Poniendo
how
los
to
dedos,
read it.
¿no?
You think you pressed the wrong button or something.
Es porque el computador sonando.
Because it's making sounds every time I type.
Mucho tu miedo de
So
eso.
I
¿no?
was very scared.
Porque acá tiene nada hacer aprender
But I
tecnología, ¿no?
needed to learn technology.
Pero es importante nosotros, tecnología no controla nuestra vida.
But make sure technology is not controlling your life.
Nosotros controla ahí.
We control it.
Hay no problemas.
And then
tecnología,
there's no problem.
tecnología maravilloso.
Technology is marvelous.
Hoy, por ejemplo, en la Zoom, por ejemplo, personas merenda.
Right
¿cierto?
now, we're here in Zoom and people can watch.
Ya, desde diferentes lugares,
From
tomando
so
tecito en su
many
casa,
places, drinking tea in their house
escuchando la Dharma.
and listening to the Dharma.
Gracias a tecnología.
So thanks to technology.
No está malo,
It's
¿verdad?
not a bad thing,
Pero depende del uso.
but depends on the use.
¿No? Todo cosa, fenómeno, yo digo, maravilloso, maravilloso. Mucha gente dice, oh, Lama, yo tengo uno más material, eso es de muy malo, digo, ¿no?
And so many people ask me, and they think that like the technology is maybe bad.
O la con materiales.
Or
Yo
like
tengo
even
muchas
I have so many
cosas, ¿no?
materials and things, and they think that they're bad.
Yo digo, no es malo.
It's
¿no?
not bad.
Depende de tu uso.
It depends on your use.
¿Entiendes? Algo beneficioso, ¿no?
May it benefit others.
Todas, ¿no? Eso es maravilloso.
I just want to say maybe.
Y entonces ahora resumiendo, Lama, eso es de como la conclusión, ¿no? Curso, ¿cierto?
So that's kind of the course that I'm bringing you through. And,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Entonces, ahora todavía más de 2 veces instrucción, ¿cierto? Tiene más, ¿cierto?
So we're going to do 2 more kind of foundational classes, and then we're going to actually get started in the path.
Entonces, mientras ustedes tienen unas decisiones, ¿ya?
So in the meantime, you got a decision if you'd like to join.
Ya, eso, ¿ya? Y también por suerte, y Cassandra y Nico también acá preparando realmente mucho trabajo, ¿cierto?
And I know it's a lot of preparation work for Nico and for Cassandra and for the team.
Todo interdependencia,
It's
¿cierto?
everything is a lot of interdependence.
Entonces, porque Lama pone alguna semilla,
So I'm putting some seeds here.
no nace de una suficiente semilla. No suficiente solo semilla, ¿verdad?
The seed is not sufficient.
Pero ahí nace tierra de muchas condiciones más.
There's all those other conditions.
Todo interdependencia.
All
¿no?
of it's interdependent.
Entonces, haga ella, nosotros y comunidad, haga especialmente en Costa Rica, como América Centro, ¿cierto? Centro
So
no se puede explotar espiritualmente.
the idea is that you know, we're here in the center of Central America, and the idea is that this can explode, you know, from the center and benefiting others,
Especialmente Diamante Valley.
especially here in this Diamante Valley.
Y eso como herramienta puede aplicar nuestra propia vida,
These are tools we can apply to our life,
proyecto,
to our projects,
y como la familia,
and
¿no?
to our families.
Todo puede aplicar eso,
And you can,
¿sabes? ¿no?
this wisdom applies to everything.
¿No? Es uno maravilloso,
It's
beneficioso. ¿no?
really beneficial.
Entonces, y pasos,
And
¿no?
so it goes
no
step,
apuramos,
step
¿no?
by step. We're not going to hurry through it.
No nacida, pero no realmente vamos a practicar, no importa cuántos años dura, ¿no?
It doesn't matter how long it lasts, how many years. The idea is to go deep into it and really do it well.
Pero nosotros meta no para solo saberse, eso es todo, ¿no?
The goal
No
is
es
not to
solo,
just
¿no?
know information.
Realmente incorporado.
You need
¿cierto?
to embody that information.
¿Entendió? Solo nosotros teóricamente ya sabe, todos ya tienen, ¿no?
Theory in our lives,
Pero falta de práctica.
but we
¿cierto?
really need to
Poner-
practice.
Realmente poner en práctica.
Put it
¿cierto?
into practice.
Y eso hace diferencia.
This will make the difference.
¿Entendió? Por eso Lama enseñando parte un poquito de enseñanza, una parte práctica siempre hay.
So there's always
Right.
going to be teachings and practice.
Y enseñando cómo utilizar la mala, por
I'll
ejemplo.
teach you how to use a mala,
Ya, todo cositas, ¿no?
There's-
Paso y paso, ¿cierto?
step by step. And we're thinking of a format, and we're going to discuss it with the team here, and also, but it seems like somewhat of the format that we're thinking about is maybe every 4 classes, there's going to be like a marker, which is like something more significant, like certain vows that are done, or an empowerment, or like a certain practice that's offered. And so like we're kind of going in stages, so we know we've hit like a particular point. And it's kind of like in courses where you get like a certificate, right? There's going to be like certain markers that we know we're going up to the next stage now. And maybe we'll consider that here depending on everyone's ability and everything, but maybe that would be like a weekend retreat so that we have a little bit more time to come together. But again, it'll be an open discussion. We'll find the format that's like working for everybody. And then as I mentioned earlier, we have people online, and we also, anytime that you might be out of town or you can't make it, obviously, if you can, please try to, you know, if it's possible to rearrange work things, please do. But if you're unable, we will have them recorded, and they'll be very organized. So you'll really know, like, you can make that up by watching that and still keep up on the path.
Ya, maravilloso. Y claro, la idea es cada cierto tiempo tener un retiro, ¿cierto?
Yeah, and so that's what I just said. Yeah.
¿Entendió? Porque eso, ese tiene, porque algunos no puede solo la teórica, ¿cierto?
Uh-huh.
Alguna necesita
And so
experiencial.
every certain amount of time, we'll do like a short retreat so we can actually experience it together. It's not just theory.
¿No? Ellos, por ejemplo, dando algún empoderamiento, por ejemplo, ¿no?
And I'll be doing, and I'll be, so cute.
Yeah.
And I'll be giving empowerments.
¿Entendió? Entonces, claro, en la de online y no puede hacer, ¿cómo se llama? Y puede mantenerlos, ¿no? Y pero puede hacer los retiros.
Yeah, and
juntos.
online, our online community
Zoom.
too, we'll make sure the dates are clear, and you can also do weekend retreats with us
Tu
from
casita,
home,
tu
from your
casa,
home.
Lo mismo nosotros como
Yeah.
está organizando, ¿verdad? En eso y eso yo creo que eso es importante y
Well-
ahí como realmente nosotros compromiso más importante, ¿verdad?
And so really our commitment is what's the most
Importante,
important.
¿no? Yo, Lama, igual vengo, realmente no tengo mucho tiempo, ¿cierto? Yo soy muy ocupado.
It's very, you know, I actually don't have a lot of time. Like I'm actually very busy.
Y estoy disminuyendo el viaje. Normalmente viajo
I'm
mucho.
actually, in order to do things like this, I'm actually decreasing the amount of travels that I'm doing.
Entonces, yo también dedicando ese nosotros estamos haciendo
Because
acá,
I'm
¿no?
going to dedicate myself to what we're doing here.
Pero algún momento tiene que viajar yo.
But there will
poquito,
be
¿no?
some times that I need
India,
to
Nepal.
travel to India, Nepal, some of the other
Entonces,
sanghas.
Ahí yo puedo hacerla unos online,
And
¿no?
I'm still going to stick to our schedule, and I'm going to do the class online.
Online cuando tal vez ustedes grupos,
And
o
I
no,
would-
no sé, televisión.
Maybe
algo.
you could still all
No.
gather as a sangha physically and see it on a like project me onto the
Y
television,
yo puedo enseñar una parte,
and I'll
¿no?
still do the teaching.
Y ustedes parte práctica, ustedes
And then
ganan,
you can practice together.
¿no? Uno, no sé, uno compartir unos tecitos juntos.
Maybe
¿no?
you should like continue to gather together so you have that kind of community connection of practicing.
Eso muy importante uno como ya apoyo de la sangha.
It's
¿no?
very helpful to have the help of
Motivar.
the Sangha. It motivates us.
Porque uno, oh, yo no sabiendo nada de eso.
I don't
Oiga,
understand
otro,
something.
no,
Oh,
no preocupe.
somebody else understands.
Otro tiene informaciones, ¿no? Entonces, esa sangha guarda informaciones, ¿no?
And so through the Sangha, we're helping each other.
Creciendo todos juntos.
And together we grow.
Mucho más potente, ¿no?
And it's very powerful.
Y poco a poco nosotros vamos haciendo la encenda fuera, ¿cierto?
And little by little, we'll be like sharing that more.
Contagiar.
And we'll be like contagious, helping people be happy.
Esa es meta, ¿verdad?
And one of the things that we're floating around an idea, and we'll check into this, but maybe like that, since we would maybe be doing this twice a month, we're talking about maybe on the off week, we'll do like a question and answer session from Dewa Chen online. So there's also like, once you've been practicing a certain thing, maybe questions arise before we move into the next topic, the next session. So we're kind of like looking into that format and seeing if it works for everybody. And then everyone did so amazing today on time. Thank you so much. And the team worked really hard too. And we'll just make a request that let's all, we know that, you know, to get into here, it's a situation. So let's do our best to like arrive early so we can start on the time that the teaching is, because we have people online. We want to make sure we're on time for them too. They're also at work and certain things and making a lot of effort to be here. So we want to be able to start the session at the time that the class is. So if you can do what you need to do to make sure that we're here earlier and sitting down ready for that time.
Eso es importante, ¿no? Dharma disciplina.
And we'll also make our commitment to be on time, except for the times when life happens. Just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, por favor.
We're going to have this out here because I know there's a lot of faces I don't see in a WhatsApp chat. So we'll be able to communicate from there or provide links to there. So there's one place of communication. So if you're not on a WhatsApp chat that says Sangha
Diamante Valley.
You're not on it. So please put your phone number and your name on this, please.
I'll save you time. I'll actually have a QR code sitting on the table and everyone just snap it and put yourself in the chat. I'll leave it right there.
Maybe this is a separate thing because I think there's also something that you do for your international groups. And what I was hoping for was the potential of the locality here to really understand the numbers, because there's quite a few people that didn't make it that have the intention of being here. And we're not at a limit. We'll always continue to make space. And this will choose to also expand. We might be able to expand into an amphitheater that might change the time slightly, that might even have access to 3 times or 4 times as many people. How amazing it could be. But it's just like if we are committing to this, we're committing to showing up. And so that we're also, if not, there's no worries. There's other places online throughout the place to be able to see Lama Dorje. But we're hoping that we can go through this consistently as a group together. And so also understanding there's lots of lives, there's, you know, professional and construction, there's people that are running entire developments, there's people that are artists and musicians that travel. So we also understand that not everyone can always make it. And it's really cool from that sense of accountability just to be able to express that to the group.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to just be able to say, hey, I won't be able to make it. So, but it still shows that you have the intention to be there.
Right.
And so if you don't, or if you're in an international place or that's not possible for you, no worries. We just kind of want to be able to have a number so we can start to understand, can we expand this more, little bit by little bit. And also there's an invitation here, please. They will never say, but they pretty much their entire lives revolves around your gratuity and your kindness and your generosity. And in the spirit of their gift, they come in here with absolutely, I mean, a lot of connections to non-attachment, but also absolutely no attachment to this being a transactional affair. But please, your gift and your spirit allows this to create access. They have a really strong goal of being able to create this availability and accessibility for the Ticos and Latin American culture, of whom can afford nothing and sometimes can't. So, you know, we are hoping that this place to be open towards hosting a retreat for people who can't pay anything for a retreat. And so as we can start to see little bit by little bit, week in, week out, a little bit added to the pot, that'll actually create to start to look like, oh, wow, there's a huge amounts of abundance and generosity here that we can expand access for those that typically don't. So we would love to imagine what that is looking forward this year, and they've committed to doing that. We're willing to give the space to make that happen for a Spanish only experience, and that's something that's really important to me because it's deeply desired and also wanted. There's just no understanding of how the pathway is. So there's also, when you do sign on, you can I'll put my number on here directly, and I'll be the top number. If you're not going to join and you just want to send me a WhatsApp, I can send you the details on how you can send a digital contribution, and we'll make sure that it gets to them in PayPal or Venmo. So if that's in here, add on hand, that's a +1. It says plus or minus 1-858. I don't know why, but that's what I wrote down. So thank you for that.
For the donation.
This is for the donation.
Okay, muchas gracias. Oh, we're gonna do a closing prayer. We'll do a little closing prayer. Pues sigue. Sí.
Entonces vamos agradecimiento de cada uno de nosotros,
So we're going to
¿cierto?
give our thanks to each person here,
Y incluso en online, ¿cierto?
including all of our
Ser
online
civil-
community,
civil.
both to the gratefulness for all the beings that are visible and invisible.
Maravilloso como nos charlas juntos como discusión sobre el Dharma.
And so what a beautiful discussion around the Dharma.
Entonces eso nosotros solo ponemos intención, beneficio a todas las
So
seres.
let's
¿ya?
put our intention to benefit all beings.
Nos repitamos mantra Om Mani Padme Hum
So we're going
alguna
to
vez, ¿ya?
repeat the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum.
Con Lama como ritmo, y ese mantra del amor y compasión.
It's the mantra of love and compassion.
Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Jangjo Semjo Rinpoche Mage Wana Ge Gyorje Kewa Nyambara Me Baya Gone Gondo Berwarjo Jangjo Semjo Rinpoche Mage Wana Ge Gyorje Kewa Nyambara Me Baya Gone Gondo Perwajo.
May the excellent and precious bodhicitta arise where it has not arisen. May it never decline where it has arisen. And may it always increase more and more.
Inhala, exhalar profundamente.
Inhaling and exhaling deeply.
Ok.
Thank you.
Gracias. Muchas gracias. Gracias. Todo.
Gracias.
Todo. Gracias.
It's so beautiful to see so many people here.
Thank you. Amazing. Muchas gracias a todos los hermanos de Zoom.
Thank you.
Gracias. Hermanos de Zoom. Hermanos de Zoom, digamos, ¿no?